spotlight of college football will be on the Orange Bowl tonight. For you see, it's a gathering of the Irish and the Hurricanes, and they're about to ignite. And good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Nance. Welcome to this most intense rivalry that many have waited all season for. And perhaps it's only poetic justice that these two teams come into this contest with so much riding on it.
You see, Notre Dame is ranked #1, having swept 23 in a row. They've toppled the mighty Trojans, Paterno's Lions, and even Michigan's Bow. The Irish can blast you with a rocket or steam you like rice. Their quarterback is a Heisman candidate, because in his career, he's only lost twice. The defense loves to dominate. All season it's flourished. It's captained by Bolkar, but is anchored by Zorich. Dennis Erickson's defense is the nation's best. It's quick and it's callous. It was the pride of Jimmy Johnson until he headed for Dallas. Craig Erickson is the current hotshot at quarterback. Miami has had so many, from Kelly and Kozar to Walsh and Vinny.
You know, rhymes and reasons aside, there will be plenty of action and plenty of drama on this field tonight. The conqueror will have lasting memories that are regal and bright, while the defeated will be as lonely and empty as the dark of night. The University of Notre Dame is located on the northern prairies of Indiana. And in late November, the icy air off Lake Michigan comes blowing in on sleepy South Bend. Thursday, the Irish left their wintry confines and journeyed south to Florida. It is here where their ultimate destiny will be decided. The Irish are only 2 wins in the Orange Bowl away from going down in history for embracing back-to-back national championships. The University of Miami Hurricanes are as hot and exciting as the city it calls home. They can point to their own national championship 2 years ago and would have been triumphant again had it not been for a trying 1-point setback in South Bend. The Hurricanes have been howling ever since. Tonight, it's Notre Dame and Miami coming up next. Special CFA Saturday night, we welcome you to the bright lights of Miami for this marquee matchup. This worldly city just hours ago saw the cruise ships depart the port for a week on the Caribbean. But you know, many others sailed into Miami this week because there is something special brewing in this tropical breeze. It's #1 ranked Notre Dame against its arch rival Miami. The Orange Bowl, built in 1937, 7 national championships have been decided on this field, and 5 Super Bowls have been held here. But there's never been a gathering as large as the one that's here tonight. Over 81,000, a record crowd, will be here for #1 Notre Dame against 7th-ranked Miami. And again, good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Nance, and welcome to this arena that is packed full of energy and emotions. You know, the national championship picture will become much clearer after this evening. And on that note, take a look at this one amazing statistic. 6 times in this decade, Miami has challenged a team ranked #1. And all 6 times, Miami won and shattered the national championship hopes of the opponent. So this evening, it's Miami and Notre Dame, resuming this rivalry that is very intense. How did they get to this boiling point with Notre Dame and Miami? Well, let's find out. 4 years ago, here at the Orange Bowl, the intensity of this rivalry took a giant leap forward.
Play with class, play with poise, do whatever it takes.
Miami shows blitz. Berline rolls in that direction. Good pickup. It's intercepted. It's going to be 6 for the Hurricanes.
We get a break. Things go our way. Let's pour it on them.
This is Williams, hole in the middle, going in.
Pour it on them and don't let them up.
They blocked the punt. Bounced on for a touchdown, Miami. Miami over Notre Dame, 58-7.
I thought there was a deliberate attempt to embarrass the University of Notre Dame, and I think that probably started this tremendous intensity that occurs and is carried forward in this series.
The Miami team was able to score offensively with the kicking game and on defense, and so the thing that was lost in the game was that the University of Miami players had a flawless ball game.
2 years ago, same place, and once again Miami in the national title fight. But now Lou Holtz at the Irish helm.
Here's Conley. Breaks free for the touchdown. What a great run.
This time a 24-0 Hurricane win on their way to the national championship.
The USC Notre Dame game is a very big game, but I mean, that's a football game. The Notre Dame Miami game is simply a war.
In 1988, the battlefield was Notre Dame Stadium, and the war started even before kickoff. When they finally got to football, it was the Irish who took the lead.
Rice keeping it. He'll go for the touchdown.
Notre Dame led all game long, but when Miami scored in the last minute, they had this two-point try to win the game.
Incomplete.
And so on that day, Notre Dame celebrated. They took the national title 2 months later, and now the stage is set for today.
They took some from us last year. I mean, 1 point from winning a national title, that's kind of hard to suck up.
We know that they're going to be jacked up there at home. All the things seem in their favor, but hey, we're going to come to play, and they have to still play us, and they have to face us on the field.
Coming out, this is what you go to college to play in these type of games. That's why all the players came here, and I think that's why all the players went to Notre Dame, to get into these type of big games.
The intensity about the game, it's an all-out grudge match, and I think that's one thing that sticks out in my mind.
This has become a premier rivalry in college football. You know, in the last few years, it's determined who's going to get to wear the ring.
Panasonic presents the Smooth Operators. The Smooth Operators are cordless rechargeable razors that shave remarkably close, either wet or dry. It takes a smooth operator to unite the old-fashioned closeness of a warm, wet shave with the convenience and no-nit comfort of an electric. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. Smooth Operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
Sometimes you got it today. Emerson's got it right. Fine-tune it, fine-tune your life. Nobody's got to tell you. Emerson does it right. Fine-tune it, fine-tune it, fine-tune your life.
Fine-tune your life with Emerson.
Interstate Battery Power starts up strong and keeps on going. To find an Interstate Battery dealer near you,
call 1-800-CRANK-IT. Get the power that goes on and on and on, yeah.
When you've got your power stroke going, nothing's gonna beat you. Introducing Power Stick Antiperspirant. 24-hour protection in just one wide stroke. New Power Stick from Fabergé.
Tell me, is he still upset?
Well, you know Dad.
Never really understood why I joined. I mean, maybe you'll go straight to college. But I had to prove something to myself first.
The GI Bill and Army College Fund. If you qualify, you can get more than $25,000 for college and an edge on life.
Do you think Dad will ever come around? Dad?
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome back to our studios in New York. We'll be taking you back down to the Orange Bowl in just a few moments for the Hurricanes versus the Fighting Irish. First, here's what else has happened today. We'll begin in Ann Arbor, where the Michigan Wolverines clinched another Big Ten championship and another trip to the Rose Bowl to play Southern Cal. They beat Ohio State despite losing Tony Bowles, rather, to arthroscopic knee surgery. Tennessee and Kentucky have 6 minutes to play in the game. Tennessee trailed early on, but now lead at 31-10. Andy Kelly goes up top to Alvin Harper for 22 yards and a touchdown as the Volunteers pull away in the fourth quarter, and they lead at 31-10. Illinois scores the most points it has scored since it hit for 79 back in 1944. They roll over Northwestern. The Wildcats suffer a fourth winless season in its last 11 years. Houston leading Texas Tech. That game has now gone to halftime, and Andre Ware is making his Heisman statement today. He hits Manny Hazard for 12 yards here. The second time today they connected for a touchdown. Ware 280 yards and 2 touchdowns throwing the ball so far this afternoon. You saw it earlier here on CBS. Penn State edged Pittsburgh 16-13 on a Ray Tarasi field goal with 13 seconds to play in the game. Purdue edged Indiana 15-14 for the old Oaken bucket. Anthony Thompson, 28 carries, 97 yards, no touchdowns for the Indiana running back. Baylor wins in Austin today for the first time since 1951. 50-7 was the final score. Georgia Tech kicker Scott Sisson kicked a game-winning 35-yard field goal with 42 seconds to play, and Tech defeats Boston College by a score of 13-12. Ole Miss in the battle for the Golden Egg defeats Mississippi State 21-11. Earlier this week, had a chance to get to know injured defensive back Chucky Mullins, and you'll hear all about him and the people who love him down at Ole Miss coming up at halftime. And in college basketball, the Hall of Fame Tip-Off Classic, Steve Fisher doesn't start the season the way he ended last year. His first loss as Michigan head coach. Arizona wins it by a score of 82-75. Well, right now, the waiting is over. We'll send you back down to the Orange Bowl with Jim, Pat, and John for the kickoff of Notre Dame in Miami on the flip side of this message and a word from your local stations.
If you want to land a good job, you have to know what most employers want. Like how to motivate yourself, how to lead others, how to perform under pressure. You can learn all these things in the Army. So no matter what career you choose, you'll really be ready to take off.
Today, more people than ever are getting a kick out of this hot shot. Interstate batteries hit the road fast with all the cranking power and reserve energy you need for even the worst curves in the weather. And Interstate has twice as many dealers than any other battery company in America, so you're never left stranded. For an Interstate battery dealer near you,
All you got to do is call 1-800-CRANK-IT. Get the power that goes on and on and on, yeah.
When Kathy started rehearsing, she went through a lot of changes. She changed her moves, her look, her timings. But in 34 days, she never had to change the batteries in her cassette player.
You can depend on me. You gotta know it.
Now Kodak batteries have been improved, so you can depend on us to last longer.
And here's the best thing to happen to your camera since Kodak film. Kodak Photolife batteries.
This is CBS.
They're prostitutes.
I'd like to know how you have any respect for yourself.
And they're married.
You come home with him and do it again?
What about their husband?
Didn't bother me at all. Excited me.
What about their kids?
It was very humiliating.
People who marry prostitutes.
Obviously a very provocative topic if the tone here in the studio is any indication.
Don't you feel cheap when you come home at night?
On the next Geraldo.
Monday afternoon at 4 on TV8.
We have to be tamed in order to do the show. Some of us.
On the next Donahue, join New York's favorite singles club.
Judd Hirsch and the entire cast of Dear John, right here.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Kirk is sort of a compilation of a lot of people that I sort of knew on the East Coast, in New York, in Boston.
Meet the cast of Dear John.
Monday afternoon at 5 on TV8. In sport at a special time, Sunday at noon on TV8.
Well, the weather, it's warm, and there's a chance of rain. Been cloudy all day in the Miami area. Just a few sprinkles along the way. We're hoping it'll hold off for this game tonight. John Dockery is our sideline man. He's been around for a number of these, including last year at South Bend. And Doc, you were right in the middle of things in the tunnel last year before that one. What has been the attitude prior to this one down on the field tonight?
You know, Jim, it's a little calmer, but still there's no love lost between these teams. As a matter of fact, universities were so concerned that during the offseason they met here in Miami to find ways to try to cut down on the heated extracurricular activities, the taunting, the verbal exchanges, the fighting. Still, the fans and the media are as intense than ever, but when you talk to the players, boy, they sound more like choir boys than football players.
The college football should be played between lines and not in the newspaper and not on the sidelines and not, you know, in tunnels. And that's the way we're going to try to keep it.
And we've been working towards that, trying to build a church boys attitude, and it's been kind of difficult.
Talking will not even do anything. Just look at me in the eyes, and just your eye or your kind of attitude can tell them that you're ready to play ball.
They're going to come after us, and I wouldn't expect anything less than, you know, a push over a pile or a jab in the side. You know, I mean, I'd be disappointed if they didn't come, because this is what it's evolved to, and I think it's great. You know, that type of game is the type of game that, like you said, you know, we're going to remember 10, 20 years down the line.
A jab in the side, a push over the pile. I guess everyone isn't wearing their halos here tonight. Still, the schools were so concerned that they moved up the coin toss 4 minutes so they wouldn't have any pregame conversation. Let's listen to the official right now, Jimmy Harper.
You'll defer. Orange wins the toss, and they'll defer to the second half. You have your choice, Notre Dame. You want to receive, which end you want to kick from. Put your back over there. White team over here. Notre Dame will receive at this end.
You heard that Notre Dame will receive, and Pat Hayden, they did that so that both teams wouldn't be on the field, so they avoid confrontation. Pat Hayden, that's it from this sideline. What's happening? What are your thoughts before the game?
Well, John Dockery, while it's really easy to get captivated by Miami's passing attack, and some of the stars on Notre Dame like Tony Rice and Rocket Ismail, I think there's a bunch of guys who don't touch the ball who are going to be the key players tonight. I think the key matchup is the defensive line of Miami against the offensive line of Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's offensive linemen, 5 of them, none of them are all Americans, believe me, but they play very well together. They opened holes for 425 yards rushing last week against a good Penn State defense. But they'll be tested tonight by the best defensive front in all of college football. The front four of Miami crowd the ball, get off from the snap, and really disrupt rhythm. They lead the country in scoring defense and in rushing defense. Now, when you play a 4-3 and your front four plays that well, it means your linebackers, and particularly your middle linebacker, has to play well. So Bernard Clark, the middle linebacker tonight at Miami, needs to have a big game, running sideline to sideline. He should have about 25 tackles tonight. So Jim Nance, I think tonight's game is going to be a game of offensive linemen and defensive linemen and linebackers.
All right, Patrick, come on up to the booth. Notre Dame is about to take the field. Irish will walk onto this field where they have lost all 4 times against Miami in this decade. Went on a 23-game win streak. And just a half an hour ago, they made it official. The worst-kept secret was made official. They're coming back here January 1st to play in the Orange Bowl against Colorado. Conversely, Miami, win or lose tonight, goes on to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Finding out about the coin toss with co-captain Tony Rice. The injury situation tonight, Jeff Ahl has had the flu and a recurring concussion. He will not start. Don Grimm will, although a nagging knee. And now here comes Miami. They've been on fire here at home, having won 31 straight here at the Orange Bowl. Notre Dame, and we'll get it started at the Orange Bowl when we continue in just a moment.
One Dry is brewed longer. One Dry is brewed from the most expensive ingredients. One Dry refreshes completely. One taste, and you'll know why. The One Dry is Michelob Dry.
The new Notre Freedom Zoom 90. When you can't get to the picture, it brings the picture to you. The Freedom Zoom 90 with 5-beam autofocus.
Only from the mines of Minolta.
Presenting a turning point in the history of screwdriving, the Black & Decker cordless screwdriver. A screwdriver so powerful it can drive 100 screws on a single charge. Any less, and it wouldn't be the Black & Decker cordless screwdriver.
Now's the time.
Your Chevrolet Geo dealer's the place.
The last great deals of the decade.
With hundreds in cash back.
On Chevy Corsica, Beretta, and the roomy Lumina sedan.
And the trucks America loves, from Blazers to S10 pickups.
And it really pays to get to know Geo, the great new line of import-inspired cars.
So see your Chevrolet Geo dealer now for great deals on select 89 and 90 models.
Before the last great deals of the decade.
Our yesterday's news.
Okay, have it your way. You can't change pollution. You can't change the deficit. You can't change the price of bread. But you gotta start somewhere. I mean, take your clothes, for example. If you just get out of that monkey suit, you might get a positive attitude going. I mean, the world could be your oyster. Oyster, well, it's an acquired taste that usually takes time.
At the Orange Bowl, Miami will kick to get it started. The Hurricanes will be without tonight their leading receiver, Wesley Carroll, a separated shoulder that happened last week in a game against San Diego State. Mike Sullivan, the left tackle, has a tender ankle but will start. Carlos Huerta about to kick for Miami. And if you follow Notre Dame, you know all about the Rocket. He is waiting and wondering if they'll kick it to him as he stands at the goal line. They kick it to Ismail. And he downs it in the end zone after finding the grass. Tony Rice, the leading rusher for the Irish and the Heisman candidate at quarterback. Anthony Johnson, the fullback, and Ricky Waters, who's emerged as a big tailback in the last month. The receivers, Eilers, scored a touchdown last year against Miami. And the Rocket, Raghib Ismail. Notre Dame starts it from the 20. Last year, only 21 rushing yards for Tony Rice on 20 attempts. Quickly keeps it right away, and a first down for Notre Dame on the first play of the game. He ran right past that defensive line, a quick fake into the line, and then off he went for 11. Russell Maryland and Cortez Kennedy on that defensive front for Miami. Willis Pegues and Greg Mark join him. The middle linebacker is the Tiger, Bernard Clark. And the linebackers, he's flanked. Clark is flanked by Crum and Newbill. We'll give him a gain of 12. First and 10, Notre Dame. Ricky Waters. Oh, fumble. The ball is loose and recovered by Notre Dame. He was hit by Bernard Clark.
Bernard Clark in the middle of the screen, number 57. We said just a moment ago he needs to have a big game. Not only did he defeat the block of the fullback, Anthony Johnson, then he put the stop on Waters. They said his momentum was stopped there, and that's why they didn't rule that as a fumble. But that man has to be the determining factor tonight for Miami.
Had been recovered by Derek Brown anyway, but spotted at the 34, second and 8. Out of the wishbone, the pitch to the Rocket. And a gain of 2. Pegues and Clark hit him first. That offensive line for Notre Dame last week led the way to 425 yards rushing against Penn State. It starts with the center help. The guards, Tim Ryan and Tim Grunhard. And the tackles are Brennan and Dean Brown. Brown on the right side. Derek Brown lines up next to him. Sophomore tight end from Merritt Island, Florida. Third down and 6. Lining it up in the eye. And a give to Waters. A flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Waters stopped short of the first at the 40-yard line. Tackled by Russell Maryland and Richard Newbill.
A procedure penalty against the Irish. But, Jim, I think in a big game like this, the team that plays like it's not afraid to lose will win. I think it's awfully hard in a big game like this to play.
The ball was snapped, dead ball, false start, illegal movement, offensive line, 5-yard penalty.
It's hard to stay loose in a big game like this, but if the team that plays loosely early in the game, I think has a distinct advantage.
Well, they'll get the down over, 3rd and 11 for the Irish from their 31-yard line.
And Jim, this is a key thing today, too. How many times this Cane defense forces Notre Dame into 3rd and long situations.
Play action fake. Rice, first throw, nowhere close to Ricky Waters. And the coverage out there by Bernard Clark. Mentioned Rice had a difficult rushing day against the Hurricanes last year, but he threw for 195 yards in the victory. Craig Hendrick, a freshman, punts, and a returner, a new one for him, is Pee Wee Smith. Wesley Carroll usually returns, but again, he's out with a separated shoulder. Grunhard will snap it back to Hendrick. Good snap, and a short kick. Bouncing around, and a favorable Miami bounce, going out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Only 21 yards on the punt. Greg Erickson comes out to direct the Miami offense. He missed 4 games this year with a broken knuckle, but is back now the last 3 weeks. Leonard Conley is the one back because they'll come out with a 3-receiver set. Dale Dawkins will be one receiver. Randall Hill and Pee Wee Smith are the other 2. They call it the spread offense here at Miami, and they start 1st and 10 from their 47. Dahl after Erickson. He's eliminated. And now, without crossing the line of scrimmage, Bolkar knocks it away, intended for Chudzinski. There is a flag down.
Well, that's a nice play by Ned Bolkar, but really, this isn't his type of game. Last week, the ineligible receiver downfield for the Canes. Last week against a team like Penn State, it was Bolkar's type of game. But this is a game that Miami wants to take advantage of the linebackers in particular. Nose tackle, the best in America, I believe, Chris Zorich. Bob Dahl gets a start at 1 tackle. Brian Flannery fills in for the injured Jeff Alm. Don Grimm and Ned Bolkar, those are the 2 that Miami wants to work on inside. Andre Drones and Scott Kowalkowski on the outside. And Andre Jones is going to need to have a big day rushing the passer.
Devon McDonald will be coming in also in obvious passing situations defensively for the Irish. And Notre Dame has declined the penalty, so it's 2nd and 10 for Miami. Lamar Thomason is a receiver. Throwing it over to Conley. Conley inside Notre Dame territory to the 48, tackled by Devon McDonald and Don Grimm. Set up 3rd and about 4.
Leonard Conley is an immediate threat, and he's going to run behind a pretty good offensive line. Bobby Garcia gets the start at center. Holder and Handy, the guards there, they need to play very well today. Their best offensive lineman is Mike Sullivan. He's playing with an injured ankle, though. And Rob Chudzinski, the tight end, who doesn't have a lot of ability, but always seems to get open and make plays.
It is 3rd and 4 for Miami. With pressure, the pass is caught by Dawkins. And he's run down at the 20-yard line by Smagala.
What separates quarterbacks, I think, is courage in the pocket. And Craig Erickson knows he's going to get a big rush here. He's in the middle of seeing the blitz inside by Bolkar. It's picked up by number 66, Handy. And he knows he's going to get hit, but he's still able to deliver the frozen rope. With pressure by Devon McDonald, number 45, Notre Dame's best pass rusher. He's running against Sullivan there, who's playing on the bad ankle. And Devon McDonald has to have a big day, putting some pressure on Erickson.
A gain of 27, 1st and 10 from the 20. Steve McGuire, a freshman running back, barrels his way to the 15. Steve McGuire now in for Leonard Conley. He's a freshman from Brooklyn, New York. Went to a prep school out of high school, Fort Union Academy, the same one that delivered Vinny Testaverde to Miami. Has already set a freshman rushing record here at this school, breaking Conley's mark.
You know, back-to-back 100-yard games, hard for one guy to tackle. Woo.
On 2nd and 5, McGuire again to the 12-yard line.
One of the differences between this Miami team and the Miami team of a year ago under Jimmy Johnson is that Dennis Erickson, the head coach, believes this part of the season they have to run the ball successfully down here. And the last 4 weeks, they've made a concerted effort to run the ball more effectively. And they've done that particularly with Stephen McGuire.
Dennis Erickson stepping into this rivalry tonight. Third and a long one for Miami. And the give to Conley, and he's tackled for a loss, and the ball is free. They're going to rule him down. No fumble. Don Grimm in on the hit, and a loss of 5. Zorich made the recovery, but it's all for naught.
And that is a big play by Don Grimm, number 36, one of the inside linebackers, right at the screen, shoots right in the gap. Nobody even blocks him. And then he just holds on for dear life, knocks him down, but the runner was down before the fumble.
So Miami will attempt a 35-yard field goal. Carlos Huerta. Tim Palau is the holder. Kick on its way, and Huerta, good kicker, knocks it through, and Miami scores first. A 35-yard field goal for Carlos Huerta. And it's Miami early.
I told Greg he was crazy to start his own business. He won't have our resources. He won't have our computers.
Morning, Annie.
Hey, you been busy?
Sure, it's a lot of space for one guy. He says he's planning to grow.
This story's bothering you, pal?
No problem, thanks.
He won't have our graphics department. He won't have our...
He won't have our bureaucracy. I heard Greg Clancy went independent.
I wish I had his guts.
I'm having lots of fun. Ain't no hide gun. I'm the boss man.
This proposal is impressive.
Who are these guys, anyway?
Greg's a creative guy. Clancy's just a bean counter.
I'm the CEO.
Macintosh has the power to make you independent. The power to be your best.
How come you got so much space?
I'm an optimist.
The Black & Decker Air Station. It has all the pressure you need to inflate anything fast. The Black & Decker Air Station. Always at your service.
Xerox presents the Great American Torture Test. We challenged the bone-numbing cold of northern Alaska and passed with flying colors. Xerox. Because extreme conditions demand extreme protection.
Tuesday, they're back stronger than ever. And oh yes, funnier than ever. Steve Guttenberg, Bubba Smith, and Bob Goldthwait, Police Academy.
A record 81,000 plus here at the Orange Bowl. The Canes just kicked a field goal. They lead 3-0. Interesting, moments before the game, I ran into Lou Holtz, and the thing he told me, he said, hey, have you ever seen a crowd like this before? I said, no. Have you, Coach? He said, no. And then he went on to say, hey, we need some early success to take this crowd out of the game, Jim and Pat.
All right, Doc. Well, it's only a field goal for Miami, but Pat, you point out there's some significance to that.
Well, in last year's game, remember, Notre Dame never trailed. And again, playing in this environment, it's going to be very tough hearing the quarterback signals when you're behind.
Huerta boots it away. And it comes to Rodney Culver. He also can't find the handle. Now picks it up at the 15. And runs to the 26-yard line. Tackled by Darren Smith. Now the secondary for Miami, Pat. Kenny Berry and Roland Smith are the corners, and the safeties, Farms and Hurley Brown.
Well, Charles Farms is going to have a big game. We're also going to see a freshman, Darrell Williams, at free safety some too. And anytime you play against an option team, your free safety has to make a lot of plays, and they're going to have to make some tackles in the open field.
Second possession of the game for the Irish. They picked up a first down and then punted on their opening possession. Now the inside give to Anthony Johnson with a flag down to the 29-yard line with a flag. Tackled by Crum, Maurice Crum. And it goes against the Hurricanes.
We said at the very beginning of the broadcast the key is the defensive lineup, front four against the offensive line. Watch 52, Tim Ryan, as he steps around the center. Begin to see the penetration by Maryland. Bernard Clark steps in the hole, fights off the block. And we said Bernard Clark needs to make 25 tackles tonight for Miami to win. Well, he's already made 3.
Pat, isn't it true tonight? It's also kind of man-on-man, Clark against Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Bernard Clark is going to key the release of Anthony Johnson. If Johnson comes tight, he carries the ball. If he goes wide, then it's an option play, and he has to defeat his block.
There's Anthony Johnson, powerful fullback, who goes straight ahead for the Irish. 1st and 5, and here he is, Johnson, breaking free for a tackle and coming up about a yard short of the first at the 35-yard line. Tackled again by Bernard Clark.
Well, this is going to be fun, Jim, watching Clark and Johnson go right after one another. Here's the guy. See his eyes? Look at his head. His eyes are just keyed in right on the fullback. That's all his. That time, the center can't get out because the defensive tackles did their job of keeping people away from Clark. And again, Clark makes the tackle.
2nd and 1 for Notre Dame. They put in the wishbone formation with Ismail in a tailback spot. They give to Johnson, and he picks up the first.
I'll tell you, he didn't pick it up by much, Jim, and I'm absolutely convinced that if Notre Dame is going to win this game, they can't run the ball all the time, every 3 downs. They're going to have to find a way to manufacture some plays out of the passing game. You know, Anthony Johnson, we have seen some very good fullbacks in college football this year, and Anthony Johnson is among the best. He's kind of like, he reminds me of an 18-month-old baby sitting on your lap. He's always moving and squirming and scratching. His legs are always moving.
1st and 10, Notre Dame, midway 1st quarter, 3-0 Miami. Ricky Waters on the pitch. Hit by Crum and Mark. And a gain of 3.
This Miami run defense has been sensational for a long time. #1 in the nation, and you pile that on with a statistic, the most important, they're the best scoring defense in America as well.
Fewest yards allowed, Miami.
Remember, Notre Dame comes in averaging over 300 yards a game rushing, so that's where the game's going to be won or lost.
2nd and 7. Eilers into the tailback out of the wishbone. Now dropping back to throw. Bryce looking for the rocket. And he's picked off by Roland Smith. That's his 6th of the year.
Give Sonny Lubrick, the defensive coordinator at Miami, some credit, because he said when Rocket gets out in the slot and on the formation here, they like to run the post pattern and give him plenty of cushion. There's a good 10-15 yards there, and actually 2 men. The backside corner makes the play, and also Roland Smith. But that's a terrific defensive game plan by Miami and Sonny Lubrick, the defensive coordinator.
8th interception of a Tony Rice pass this year. Steve McGuire all the way to the 20 and a gain of 9. Sullivan with the key block.
Well, you know, college football is very much a game of emotion, and it's very hard to keep that emotion for 4 quarters. But early in this game, this Miami team is very emotional, plus they're executing. A lot of times when you're emotional, you don't execute well, but they are on offense and defense.
2nd and 1 from their own 20-yard line. Lamar Thomas comes in as a 3rd receiver. McGuire again. Oh, he's jarred by Pat Terrell. Knocks the helmet off, but he gets right on his feet. Steve McGuire for 13 yards.
Watch the block right in here on Grimm, the inside linebacker. If you're going to run the ball with success inside, you have to be able to control those. He gets double teamed, they block him low, they cut his feet, and then McGuire has enough strength to run through the arm tackle.
Buckle up that chin strap. 1st and 10, Miami. Now the fake, the rush, the ball's free. Kowalkowski on the hit, and the recovery by Miami.
Wow. Wow. And we have seen some nice plays already. Kowalkowski comes from the right part of the screen, number 37. Nobody even blocked him. The guard tried to come out 66 handy, but he's too quick. He cannot do that. The guard is not quick enough to get that linebacker coming off the corner. You know, Barry Alvarez, the defensive coordinator, said about Kawakowski this week, he says, I want him on the field all the time because I know what I'm going to get from the guy. And that's 110% all the time, every play.
Darren Handy on the recovery. And a timeout called by Erickson. 5:28 to go in the first quarter. Canes with a field goal and with the football for the second time tonight.
Now, the way you vacuum your rug can be the way you vacuum your bug. But only with the powerful new Car Vac Power Brush from Black & Decker. It's the first vacuum that's at home in your car.
It's the biggest game ever played for one case of Miller Lite. And the teams are assembling.
Taste great, that's big!
Guys, this is big. There's Super Bowl tickets in that case. In every case of Miller Lite, you'll find the less filling beer that really tastes great. And maybe a free trip to the Super Bowl, too.
Who's their coach?
A guy that knows a thing or two about getting his hands on beer.
Don't worry, men. I'm bringing in a secret weapon.
Who is it?
It's a secret.
Coach, we gotta get that case. Yeah!
If you want to move ahead in any career, ask yourself, can I work with a team? Can I take on a tough job and see it through? You can learn how in the Army, so when you set off on the road to success, you'll already be in the driver's seat.
Then why did I ever let you talk me into this vacation? The I Can't Sit Still vacation. Let me try that again, vacation. The Royal Caribbean Vacation. It's all here.
They've toppled the Bears and stunned the Niners. Now, Green Bay's Pack Attack tries to overthrow the division-leading Vikings tomorrow.
That's the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise cruising overhead tonight. Dr. Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia at the controls. We come back to the field with a 2nd and 18 for Miami from their own 25-yard line.
You know, as a player, you always know it's a big game when the Blimp's here.
It's a dead giveaway.
No, this Miami team is unusual. What they have is a horizontal game plan rather than a vertical. They spread you out by formation. Force you to defend the entire width of the field.
All the receivers to the right side. Davis and Porman, the extra defensive backs on 2nd and 18. Going short to Dawkins. He holds on for about an 8-yard gain.
Now, that's a key play there by the Notre Dame defense. What they want to make sure happens is once the Miami receivers catch the ball, they gain no yards after. That's a key stat for the Notre Dame defense. They don't mind them catching the ball in front of them, but don't let them run after the catch.
Now 3rd down for Miami. 3rd and 9 it is. With the rush, Andre Jones on the sack. They had Grimm coming from the other side, but Andre Jones had the other side planted as well.
Andre Jones, number 7, is coming full speed off the corner, and Grimm's coming from the inside. And Jim, Notre Dame's defensive plan now looks like it was against USC 2 years ago out in L.A. when they blitzed Rodney Peete just about every down.
The last game of last year.
Yeah.
Last game of last year's regular season. Kalal to punt after the 18-yard loss on the sack. Ricky Waters, the deep man on the return. He will not mess with this one. Smith downs it for Miami. 35-yard line. Notre Dame will take over. A 48-yard punt. We're still in the first quarter.
This is something different. The body panels will never rust. The seats can be arranged to seat up to 7. And ask yourself, have you ever traveled like this before? Meet the new Family Lumina APV. When it comes to new ideas for the family, nobody's winning like. The heart
heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
How strong is Extra Strength Tums EX? Heartburn strikes, Tums strikes back. Heartburn's gone that fast. Tums EX, twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, we see it as something you do for a lifetime. And we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
Because of its unique point design, the Black & Decker Bullet Drill Bit drills holes up to 4 times faster than an ordinary drill bit. Nothing's faster than a bullet drill bit.
Defensive end Greg Mark has already made the coach's All-America team. We spoke with him about stopping Tony Rice on the option.
He's a key on their offense. If we get him out of his rhythm, where he's not running up and down the field and not being able to run the offense the way he wants to, I think that's a key for stopping their type of wishbone. And you know, we were successful last year to an extent, and you know, we just made a few too many mistakes. But for the most part, we're going to try to do the same thing this year.
Again, the numbers last year for Rice. The Miami defense was successful indeed, stopping him running-wise. 20 carries for those 21 yards, but he threw for 195 yards and a touchdown. 1 carry tonight for Rice. First play of the game, he kept it for 12. 1st and 10, Notre Dame from its own 35. Rice again. He's stopped immediately by Cortez Kennedy.
Wow. Cortez Kennedy comes at you like a rock slide. There is no finesse in this guy. Number 96, right here. Watch how quickly he gets off the ball, defeats the block, and then gets on the quarterback. Runs right through the block of the guard, and that's what we talked about. Greg Mark just talked about disrupting the rhythm of the option. And it's plays like that.
2nd and 11. Inside give to Waters. Just past the 40-yard line. Tackled by Bernard Clark. No, Ricky Waters has really come on of late. 134 yards on the ground against Navy. Over 100 against Penn State last week. Here's a young man who was a tailback as a freshman. Switched to a wide receiver last year, trying to take over Tim Brown's spot, and back to tailback this year.
And they challenged him. They want him to be more physical the last part of the season.
3rd and 5. Here comes the Rice. The rush on Rice. And he's down, no fumble. And again, it's Cortez Kennedy with the rush.
You know, one of the secrets to Miami's success in their down 4 is 3 of those guys were linebackers when they came, including Cortez Kennedy. And I think even when you put on 30, 40 pounds, when you get switched to defensive linemen, you never lose that sensation of running fast, of moving your feet quickly. And that's what I think makes these guys so successful in pass rushing. Their 50th sack of the year.
Hendrick the punt. Smith lets it bounce around and dies at the 29-yard line. Back down to the sidelines with John Dockery.
You know, Jim, there were a couple of very well-kept secrets here in Miami, one of which was Stephen McGuire's injury. He has a hip flexor. The other is Greg Mark, who had a pinched nerve in his back, so serious he was actually in the infirmary overnight. Doesn't appear to have any effect on his play here tonight, though, gentlemen. Up to you guys.
The ball actually is at the 30-yard line. And McGuire is the lone setback. Connolly started. McGuire has played a great deal of it here in the first quarter. Here's McGuire. 5 yards. He picks up. Tackled by Brian Flannery.
You know, if you're going to run the ball inside, you must control the nose tackle. Chris Zorich, number 50, is there on the inside, and they control him just enough. It takes 2 guys, Handy and Garcia, the left guard and the center, but that's just enough for Stephen McGuire to read those blocks and run off it. But that's a nice double team by the offensive line.
Zorich, number 50, the strong man of that defensive line for Notre Dame. 2nd and 5. Erickson through the arms of Thomas. Todd Light on the coverage.
Well, it is clear what Notre Dame's defensive game plan here is. Barry Alvarez, their defensive coordinator, one of the best in the country, he said we're going to come out and blitz these guys. Get in Craig Erickson's face as much as we can. Put pressure on him with McDonald, Alm, and Andre Jones, Bolcar. We've seen them blitz almost every down.
3rd and 5 from the 35. They run it with McGuire. He hands the first down to the 42-yard line, tackled by Greg Davis.
Boy, nice block by the left tackle and by Dale Dawkins, the wide receiver. And everybody thinks of these Miami wide receivers as quick guys that like to do a lot of dances in the end zone, but watch the guy here in the slot. Watch how he just seals the inside. That's the block on the strong safety, Francisco, and that allowed McGuire to come in, but Dale Dawkins plays the receiver position with some physicalness.
Alex Johnson now replaces McGuire. 1st and 10, Miami. They run it with Johnson. He lost his footing, but stays up. Should have lost yardage, but gets to the 45-yard line. Final seconds of the first quarter, 40 seconds to go. 3-0, Miami.
A nice balance here by Alex Johnson, because I thought he was actually going to trip, and the momentum of his body lean was going to bring him down. But the play was supposed to go inside, and because there was good penetration, he tried to bounce it outside. Again, the penetration was by McDonald, but Johnson did a nice job of making a little gain.
2nd and 7. Erickson sets his receivers to the left. With time, he goes over the middle. It's caught by Dawkins. Dawkins will score. Touchdown to Dale Dawkins. And now the extra point by Huerta. 10-0, Miami.
Dale Dawkins, we saw him a moment ago throw a key block to spring Stephen McGuire. And now what he does is use that tremendous speed and size of him. He's 6'1", so he's got real good size and being able to leap for the ball. Outruns the nickelback, Greg Davis, into the end zone. But I like what you see in Dale Dawkins. He blocks and he catches a touchdown pass. Helping his team to win any way he can.
This ties the largest deficit Notre Dame has faced this year. USC was up 10 on the Irish at halftime, but Notre Dame came back to win that one.
And Notre Dame is not the type of team that really is a great come-from-behind team because they don't throw the ball particularly well. So this offensive series for Notre Dame, Jim, I think is very important.
It seems like when teams have scored, like Penn State drove it downfield last week and scored, so did Pitt. In its opening possession, Notre Dame has always bounced right back and taken it the length of the field for its own touchdown. Can they do it again? Ismail will run it out. He is not accustomed to being stopped inside the 20. Hurley Brown makes the tackle, and the first quarter is over. 10-0, Miami. College football on CBS continues after this message and a word from your local station.
Every year, it gets harder to keep the guys' hands off their gifts. That's because I always give them good-looking isotoner gloves. So I'm hiding them in my locker. Now they won't be grabbing these comfortable, great-fitting gloves. So take care of the hands that take care of you. But take care where you put the isotoner gloves. And now, Isotoner fans, there's a present for your feet. Isotoner's introducing slippers and socks for men. Catch them at fine stores everywhere.
It's 32 degrees, and Jan Trumpeter is learning all about her antifreeze. The hard way.
Why is this happening to me?
Don't push your luck. Guarantee it with Advanced Formula Prestone.
The product. The proving grounds. The results. STP gas treatment is the edge.
This is CBS.
Vail, Colorado. America's #1 rated ski resort. It's the #1 cure for the wintertime blues.
We have all your Christmas decorations at Craft and Flower. Whether you're decorating your home for the Christmas season, planning a holiday party for family and friends, or looking for that unique gift for someone special, Craft and Flower has the name brand products you need, the personal service you want, at low prices you'll love. Craft and Flower, your complete Christmas store for value, service, and selection, serving you with 19 locations.
Big Chuck and Little John present Woody Allen and Annie Hall tonight at 11:30.
We welcome you back to the start of the second quarter at the Orange Bowl. #1 ranked Notre Dame in trouble early. 10-0, Miami leading. Jim Nance along with Pat Hayden and John Dockery on the sidelines. And a 55-yard touchdown just moments ago from Craig Erickson to Dale Dawkins. Back come the Irish now after Ismail's return was only to the 15. 1st and 10. Rice for 6. The ball was loose, but they'll rule him down.
Jim, let's take another look at the touchdown. And 3 guys to watch. This is Dale Dawkins in the slot. This is the nickelback, number 26, Greg Davis. And Terrell here is going to cover these 2 wide guys. But Dale Dawkins in the slot goes right down the middle, beats the nickelback, Greg Davis. And that was because Pat Terrell, the free safety, had to come with the near boundary because there were 2 wideouts that way. So a nicely designed play.
Dawkins stepping into the spot tonight. He has been a starter, but he started in place of Wesley Carroll, who's out tonight. On 2nd down and 5, Ricky Waters for maybe a yard, tackled by Russell Maryland. One footnote to that touchdown. It's the longest completion of Craig Erickson's career. 55 yards.
His emotion, Bernard Clark's enthusiasm is very important for this team. Every team has an emotional leader, and Bernard Clark is that for Miami.
3rd and 4, Ismail to the right, Eilers to the left. Pass is caught for a 1st down by Rocket Ismail. Gain of 19 to the 41-yard line.
And again, Tony Rice is going to have to continue to do that squeeze, manufacture some plays out of the passing game. He doesn't necessarily have to be 18 for 25, but he needs to have a couple of big plays. Big plays. Get the ball to Ismail on the move so he can run cross grain for a big play and a touchdown.
1st and 10, Notre Dame. Tony Smith in as a receiver. Out of the wishbone, Rice keeps it. Oh, is he hit at the 45. Maurice Crum. And actually doubled up by Hurley Brown.
Yeah. If you want to stay healthy, you stay out of Maurice Crum's neighborhood. He chases this down all the way from the backside. But again, when the linebackers are making plays like this, and that's Maurice Crum, number 49, it means the front four are doing their job. They're keeping people off those guys.
Crum attended the same high school in Tampa, Hillsborough High School, as Dwight Gooden, Dr. K. More tackles like that, maybe we should call Crum Dr. KO. 2nd and 6, and Rice for no gain. Kennedy has been in on a lot of plays.
Cortez Kennedy has had a sensational game thus far. But you see the play selection, a balanced attack here by Miami. Thrown it 10 and passed it 6 times. Notre Dame is going to have to make each pass count. 5 tackles on the night for Kennedy.
Third down and 6. Derek Brown for a first down and into Miami territory. Pass was a little low, but Brown was able to field it, and he's tackled by Crum.
Boy, Derek Brown is a guy that had played pretty well against Miami a year ago with some big pass reception. And Derek Brown, I think, is very important for this Notre Dame team. One of the reasons they've been able to run the ball so well outside this year is because of his blocking at the tight end position. He has been terrific.
1st and 10. First time in Miami territory. On the option, keep. A nice run by Tony Rice. Near another first down. The elusive Tony Rice on the option, Pat.
And his footwork, watch his feet. I tell you, he is a strong runner as well being a quick runner. And when he makes up his mind, he doesn't waste any time. He saw a little soft spot inside, didn't dance around the hole, planted the right foot and got upfield. And then he ran through a couple of tackles.
And they're going to measure. He has it. First down, Notre Dame. So they're trying to respond to the touchdown put on the board by Miami. It's 10-0 Hurricanes. From the 36-yard line of Miami. 1st and 10. Rice tripped up by Crum, but another good pickup by Rice, coming off his career best rushing performance a week ago against Penn State. 141 yards in that game, and now 8 carries for 33 tonight. We're early in the 2nd quarter at Miami's Orange Bowl. The 7th-ranked Miami leading #1 ranked Notre Dame. 10-0. 2nd and 2. The Irish are driving. Anthony Johnson plows his way for a first down.
Miami has done very well against running attacks from Notre Dame this decade. Really have been incredible. Again tonight.
I'll say this. When they played here at 87, Notre Dame never got inside of the Miami 27-yard line. It was a shutout victory for the Hurricanes, and now Notre Dame penetrates the 25 and a first down. Ismail to the corner for 9.
Boy, the thing about Ismail, Jim, and we've seen him a couple times this year, is he can make adjustments at full speed. A lot of guys have to slow up when they make adjustments, but not Ismail. And believe me, he is going fast when he makes those adjustments. He makes 2 or 3 different cuts there, but it was a nice saving tackle by Kenny Berry.
Nice lead block by Tim Ryan, the left guard. We've got an injury over there, Kenny Berry, who pushed him out. He's the starting left corner for Miami.
Boy, and that is a tough injury when you're playing against the option and your defensive corners have to make a lot of plays.
Got a timeout on the field.
It's the closest race in years. Who will win the Heisman?
Modern, masculine, definitely French. Pour Monsieur, the understated fragrance for today's civilized man. Pour Monsieur, from Chanel, for men.
My baby don't care for shows. My baby don't care for clothes. My baby just cares for me.
Share the fantasy. Chanel number 4.
Now's the time.
Your Chevrolet Geo dealer's the place. The last great deals of the decade.
With hundreds in cash back.
On Chevy Corsica, Beretta, and the roomy Lumina sedan. And the trucks America loves, from Blazers to S10 pickups.
And it really pays to get to know Geo, the great new line of import-inspired cars.
So see your Chevrolet Geo dealer now for great deals on select 89 and 90 models. Before the last great deals of the decade.
Our yesterday's news.
Sometimes you can tell by the way it looks. Sometimes you can tell by the way it feels. Sometimes it comes to you in broad daylight. Sometimes you find it in the middle of the night. But you know when you got the right one. This is the right one. You know when you got the right.
Before we left, Kenny Berry, the fine cornerback from Miami, was hurt. They examined his ankle along the sidelines. He walked off the field, but he's being replaced by Robert Bailey. And that time, guys, it was just the speed of Ishmael. He couldn't get a good angle on him, was forced to hang on, and then twisted his ankle as he went out on the sidelines. Back to you guys.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Notre Dame tries to go right at Robert Bailey with their option.
2nd and 1. Dorsey Levens is in the backfield for Notre Dame. Anthony Johnson has the football. He's still on his feet. He fumbles, and it's recovered. They're going to rule him down. Oh, these two last year had a controversy near the goal line. Cleveland Gary trying to go in. Let's check this one out. Was it a fumble?
His knee was hitting down, but I thought the ball was coming out as he was going down as the knee hit. Now, the side judge, I thought, said he signaled the elbow came down. Now, that should be a fumble. That should definitely be a fumble.
No question, but it's Notre Dame football in 1st and goal. Johnson again for no gain. Darren Smith comes up, as does Crum.
Boy, and it does bring back some memories of the controversial play by Cleveland Gary last year. In the 4th quarter, the fumble down by the goal line. Again, you had mentioned earlier, Jim, that Notre Dame had responded virtually all season long when they've gotten behind. Again, this drive, they've done it again.
The Bluebirds are out. 2nd and goal. Now on the short side of the field, Rice goes nowhere. Willis Pegues.
Man.
And another loss.
Is Willis Pegues, you can't believe how fast these guys get off and get rid of blocks. I mean, there's some big bodies in front of these guys, but they don't stay blocked very long, believe me. Watch number 58 come right in. He just runs right around the block of Dean Brown, number 71, to make the play. Dean Brown is 300-pounder.
They bring in Rod West as the extra tight end, and out of the wishbone, Ismail is in there as a tailback. On 3rd and goal, they fake, and now throw, and incomplete to Ricky Waters. Roland Smith in there.
Nice play. 2 nice plays by Roland Smith on coverage thus far, Jim.
So this Miami defense does not break. Notre Dame had it 1st and goal from the 1. And they'll attempt the field goal. Here we go. Billy Hackett from 22 yards. And Hackett is a perfect 7 for 7 on the year, and Notre Dame is on the board. It's 10-3 Miami.
High
Heineken. Amstel Light. This so is much better than other It's a light great beers. imported beer. A I mean, delicious European nothing compares taste, to the a smoothness, refreshing, the richness, or the character distinctive of a flavor Heineken. that cuts through its your quality thirst. comes through. There's a uniqueness to it.
Heineken is America's #1 selling imported beer. Amstel Light is America's #1 selling imported light beer. Why? Just ask the people who drink them.
If you my ask opinion, me, Amstel Heineken Light is the best beer there is. I could go I on can't and say on enough about it. It's a light no beer matter how that many beers quenches your thirst.
America uses more things produced from oil than any other country in the world. We produce more domestic oil than any other company in America. BP America.
If you have a house as messy as this, and a son as helpful as this, get a shop vac. Look at the power this baby's got. A shop vac wet dry picks up everything from nails and wood chips to broken glass to gallons of water.
Thanks for the car, Dad.
Yep, there's no telling when you'll need the power of a shop vac.
Now Shop Vac introduces Spot Check for tough carpet stains. Spot Check turns any shop vac into a powerful carpet clean.
Last year, Notre Dame won 31-30 in South Bend. In the final quarter, this was the controversy. A pass on 4th down, Walsh to Cleveland Gary. And as he reached for the goal line, the ball came loose. No touchdown. And now, tonight, another fumble near the goal line. Certainly not in the same situation, not in the final quarter as a year ago.
But Anthony Johnson clearly fumbles this one, and I think it was Richard Newbill who made the recovery for Miami. So Notre Dame gets a break here in the first half.
Notre Dame unable to punch it across, however, on 1st and goal from the 1. They get the field goal, and now will kick. 10-3 Miami. Randall Hill on the return. Hill is tackled at the 24-yard line. Oh, and a little pushing starting out there now. The NFL today will get us started tomorrow. It's a doubleheader day for us on CBS Sports. Minnesota has a 1-game lead over Green Bay. They'll collide tomorrow. Others will see the Atlanta Falcons against the Jets. And later, Chicago against Washington. Tampa Bay against Phoenix. All begins with the NFL today, including a live interview with Mike Ditka. Boy, do the Bears need a win. They're 6-5 on the year, and they'll be taking on the Redskins in our second game. 1st and 10, Miami. McGuire twisting his way near the 30, hit by Brian Flannery. You know, Pat, we showed the Cleveland Gary play from a year ago, and there was actually further confusion on that play.
It was the officials the day after said it really wasn't a fumble. They gave it to him on change of downs, which was the incorrect call because Miami would have had a 1st down. And Jim, it also is one of the reasons why we have an SEC crew tonight. We had a mixed crew last year, a split crew a year ago, and I hate split crews.
All SEC, as you mentioned, 2nd and 5. Connolly in motion, and here comes the blitz. Down he goes. Chris Zorich, the nose tackle, gets the sack, the 3rd of the night for Notre Dame.
Chris Zorich comes after you like a dog chasing a moving car, and watch again how he just gets off the ball quickly, steps around a little stunt, goes all the way around Flannery, and then it was good coverage that allowed Zorich to make the play. But Zorich makes sacks. He'll run downfield and knock down screens, make plays there. He'll stuff the center. He's done just about everything this year for this Notre Dame defense. Look at his helmet. You think he's had a few hits?
Looks like the side of my car. 3rd and 13, Miami. Erickson again, and it's tipped away. Tipped by Bolcar. That's the 2nd one tonight he's got a hand on. Good play by Bolcar.
That's one of those things Notre Dame does really well. Their front 3 and then their inside linebackers tip a lot of passes.
Miami about to punt with Tim Kalau. And Miami does not allow long returns in the punting game.
Well, they've only given up, 13 yards all season long. It's a phenomenal statistic.
Ricky Waters can return him. He's run back one this year for touchdown. Now,
I thought he made a fair catch.
It was kind of a halfway committed fair catch, and I wasn't so sure myself.
I don't think he was sure.
I got the arms about halfway up. 36-yard punt, 6-yard return. I don't know. Is this a fair catch signal here?
I think he did a little bit of both.
Darren Smith thought it was. We'll be right back.
The following fine items were purchased with Visa cards last year, but not paid for. Won in the Visa Our Treat Sweepstakes. Now all you have to do to enter is use your Visa card, and almost anything you buy just may be our treat. And the more you use your card, the more chances you have to win. So why pay with anything else?
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
And now you can save $300 on either of our two most powerful Tandy 1000 PC-compatible computers. They're easy to use for your whole family, yet powerful enough for business. Discover the easy-to-use desk-made difference, where the same simple graphics guide you through word processing, spreadsheets, and more. Take advantage of the savings on two great Tandy 1000 computers from $5.99, only at Radio Shack, the technology store.
Dziękujemy Ci, Ameryko. Zawsze stanowiłaś natchnienie dla świata. Twoje ideały wolności dają związkom zawodowym warunki rozwoju, a robotnikom demokrację w miejscach pracy. Oczekujemy na Wasze dalsze poparcie w Polsce oraz poparcie Waszych związków w Stanach Zjednoczonych. Powiedzcie, union jest.
A message sponsored by the unions of the AFL-CIO.
I'm Connie Chung. A young woman murdered. She was last seen with a sheriff's deputy, but he's not a suspect. Is this a police cover-up? Tonight on Saturday Night with Connie Chung.
Midway in the second quarter, the yardage is even. Huerta and Hackett with field goals, but the difference, Erickson's 55-yard touchdown strike to Dale Dawkins. We saw Kenny Berry, their cornerback, go out with an injury before. It's an ankle sprain. They say he may return. However, he has been taken to the locker room.
And it's been a first half of very good defense by the front four of Miami, and Bernard Clark, the inside linebacker.
Notre Dame, 1st and 10 from its 49. Running that wishbone. Rice dodges one tackle for a loss and gets back near the line of scrimmage. Tackled by Russell Merriman. As we return to John on the sidelines. Doc?
Thank you, Jim. You know, the only team to beat Miami has been Florida State, 24-10. I talked with Bobby Bowden yesterday and said, hey, Bobby, how'd you do it? He smiled and said, hey, 6 turnovers didn't hurt. But he also said that we kept the defense off balance. We ran when we were supposed to throw. We threw when we were supposed to run. And Pat Hayden, he agreed with you that this is the best front four in college football.
Well, Doc, a lot of people feel the same way.
2nd and 9. Going long and over the head of Ismail. And he took a hit, too, coming down. We got another Miami defensive back on the field. Pass over the head of Ismail.
He took a shot by Charles Farms, number 2, because the ball was in the air an awfully long time. Right there, and it was number 16, Roland Smith, who was injured. He's the man that intercepted Rice earlier in the game and made a nice play on the pass down by the goal line. You don't think Ismail's a physical player, too? He bounced right back up. 5'10", 170 pounds, but he is a physical player.
Well, this is obviously a big moment here for Miami. Their other starting corner is out, and now the other Smith is down with an injury. And we'll be back with more CFA college football in just a moment.
Who's number one? For years, one man alone made that decision. His name was Alan Gould, sports editor of the Associated Press. But in 1934, 3 teams went undefeated, and Gould made them all occupants of the top spot.
3rd and 9. Ryan McNeil replaces Roland Smith. Pass is caught by Waters, and he's near a first down in Miami territory, but maybe just short. He was hit by Newbill.
And what Richard Newbill did a nice job of not allowing him any yards after the initial hit. A lot of times the receiver will be able to squirm through, but Richard Newbill, their leading tackler, quietly, he's gone on and to do that this year. A lot of the other linebackers get a lot of the credit, but Newbill's had a real steady year as an outside linebacker. And it forces a fourth down, and Notre Dame will go for it.
The ball is not quite to the 41-yard line. They have to move it just past it to get the first. And on 4th and inches, Lou Holtz, he wants that timeout. Rice saw him and gets it. 5:55 left in the second quarter. We'll come back with Notre Dame's 4th down play.
We asked Mike Schmidt to help us show you why the new half-ton Chevy work truck is better than Ford. With more two-sided galvanized steel, more standard power, and a new Dura-Grill that's tougher than Ford.
The lawyers told me I couldn't hit a Ford like this. Know why? You know why. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
Today's truck is Chevrolet.
I'll be just a minute. Max will keep you company.
Max.
How are you two getting along?
Great.
Max doesn't get along with just anyone. He stopped barking. Max must like you.
Where there's good food and good times, it's only natural. Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, Max, come here right now. Hey, Maxie, come here, you. Did he show you any of his tricks?
Play dead.
They've toppled the Bears and stunned the Niners. Now, Green Bay's Pack Attack tries to overthrow the division-leading Vikings and subdue their league-leading sack assault. And the once mighty Bears have gone into early hibernation. Can they awaken in time to stop the Skins? Or will they face the wrath of Ditka? Doubleheader action starts with the NFL Today, tomorrow.
Serious problems in the Miami secondary. Both their cornerbacks are out. Kenny Berry is in the locker room, has not returned. He's got ankle problems. Behind me on the bench is Roland. See him over there. His right knee is being examined right now. There's no official report. We'll keep you posted on that, guys.
All right, Doc. Ryan McNeil and Robert Bailey, the replacements. McNeil has just come in for Roland Smith. He's a freshman. 4th and inches. Notre Dame lines up out of the wishbone. On the sneak. Wow. The second effort may have gotten it for Rice.
Boy, did Bernard Clark hit him quickly. Wow. I mean, I guess you have to think you're going to run a quarterback sneak in that play. Your defensive linemen are low. Your middle linebacker is just watching the quarterback. And he doesn't like the mark, I guarantee you.
Rice was able to bounce off that hit and lean back and pick up the first down. And it's a first down.
Left of the screen. Now he comes to the middle of your screen. 57. Just read it the whole way and just bounced Tony Rice back. And he felt the forward momentum was stopped behind the line, Jim, and that's what Bernard Clark was upset with. You have to think Notre Dame is going to go after those corners.
On 1st and 10, Rod West is split wide to the right. Ismail on the carry. And a gain of about 4. Curly Brown on the tackle along with Clark.
You know, Notre Dame is really not a passing team, so it's their offense isn't geared to go out and try to pick on defensive corners. But you still would like a matchup maybe with Ismail or maybe a tight end on one of those guys. And even if you didn't throw the ball, you still want to get the ball outside on a pitch on the option and force those guys to make a tackle.
2nd and 7 from the Miami 37. Trying to dart past Russell Maryland and Bernard Clark. And he's unable to. Rice for maybe a yard.
You know, Russell Maryland is a big guy with dancer's feet. He's 265, 70 pounds, but really nice feet. He's right here. This time he's over the center, shifted. And watch how quickly he moves. Watch how quickly all four of those guys go. He just runs right through the center's block held, and then has enough quickness to run around the block and then still get the quarterback.
3rd and 6. The pitch to Waters. Newbill's out there, and it pushes him out of bounds, short of the first down.
And we are seeing a pretty good defensive team tonight, Jim. We've seen it from the down 4. We've seen it from Bernard Clark and Richard Newbill, Maurice Crum. Watch how many orange jerseys are around the ball. You think about those Oklahoma games when Miami beat them, and it's so tough to run the ball outside because they got tremendous speed running sideline to sideline. If you're going to have success, like Florida State did, you have to run it up the gut.
Well, on 4th down, Notre Dame is going to go for it. 4th and about 3. There would be a 50-yard field goal attempt. So instead, they're going to go for the first down. Up the gut they go with Anthony Johnson, and he's right at the mark.
Anthony Johnson is one of the best short yardage runners I have ever seen. And Dean Brown, the offensive tackle of Notre Dame, was saying when we know, and it's a short yardage situation, that Anthony Johnson will get the job done. This is going to be a close one.
Miami takes over. This Miami defense in the first half holds Notre Dame on a 1st and goal from the 1. Notre Dame able to salvage only a field goal, and now they hold them on 4th and 3.
You know, it's interesting watching Lou Holtz, Jim. I think he is tougher on his team when his team is winning. He seems to offer a lot more encouragement when his team is down.
Miami football from its 30, 1st and 10. McGuire is the lone setback. 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. 10-3 Miami. Quickly now to Dawkins. Dawkins breaks the tackle of Todd Light, but DeJuan Francisco holds on.
That little play there, Jim, sets up all sorts of possibilities. If Craig Erickson doesn't see anybody on top of Dawkins, he just pops him the ball and forces somebody to cover him.
In case you missed it, Anthony Thompson today held short of 100. 28 carries, 97 yards, and no touchdowns. 2nd and 5, McGuire. No gain. And he is hit by a whole slew of defenders, including Zorich and Greg Davis.
Now, Notre Dame now is in, or even on that down, on 2nd down, was in their nickel package. Their nickel back is Greg Davis, number 26. And they feel they don't match up particularly well with some of the receivers of Miami, so they need to double cover as many guys as they can.
There's Davis. Conley in the backfield. The lone back on 3rd and 5. Rifles the pass to Dawkins, and a good catch and a first down.
Dawkins has been impressive. We've seen him be physical on blocks. We've seen him show grace on a long pass, and that was a tough catch. In between 2 defenders, there was a frozen rope thrown by Erickson, and he went up in between 2 guys knowing that he was going to get pummeled.
Miami able to hold on to the football now as we're inside 2 minutes, 30 seconds in the second quarter. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. On first down, 3 receivers to the right. Conley in the backfield. Across the middle, Bolcar on the interception. He gets away from Erickson. Bolcar, the co-captain, will score.
Play by Bolcar. He has knocked down 2 passes today. This one he picks off. And we said it wasn't his kind of game, but thus far it has been, because he's played very well in the passing game. He said coming into this game, we can't blink if we're going to have a chance of beating Miami.
Hendrick can tie it with the extra point. It's good, and it's 10-10. Ned Bolcar, 49 yards on the interception return. The first touchdown of his career at Notre Dame, his first pickoff of 1989.
Watch him in here. Ned Bolcar, and again, it's the eyes. He reads the play. He's watching the eyes of the quarterback. And when Erickson locks in the receiver, he steps right in front of him. The ball was behind him a little bit. And then he shows a nice little move. Goes right over Erickson. But it was the eyes of Bolcar that led him to the interception and the score.
A Roger Kingdom kind of a hurdle to get over Erickson, who was the only guy who had a shot at him. Watch this. I mean, does that look like you could pull a hamstring? If not, maybe qualify for the 110 high hurdles. Bolcar, the two-time captain here at Notre Dame, helps tie it at 10. The young man who grew up in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, is a Notre Dame fan. He said, as a kid, I felt sick to my stomach when Notre Dame lost. He completed his dream by being able to play football for the Irish.
Well, what an emotional play there for the Irish. Now it's up to Craig Erickson with 2:08 remaining in the half and still 2 timeouts to get some momentum back, get the crowd back in the game and get something on the board. Plenty of time to do it with their offense.
Hendrick's kick travels through the end zone. Miami will take it out at the 20. Our CFA action picks up next week. And boy, what a battle this will be down Alabama way. Alabama and Auburn. First time ever these two will play at Auburn. And that will be followed by next Saturday here on CBS Sports, the Heisman Trophy Award. You'll see it live here, 5:30 Eastern Time next Saturday. From the 20, 1st and 10. McGuire will lose yardage. Tackled by Troy Ridgely, the backup nose. Let's go back down to John Dockery.
You know, Jim, you've been talking about the quarterback tradition here in Miami. Steve Walsh was one of those great quarterbacks. Steve, you've beaten Notre Dame and you've also lost to them. I thought it was funny when we were talking. You said the key is no turnovers.
Yeah, that's the key. You know, we have such a great defense. If you keep a team like Notre Dame that has to drive 80 yards every time, you're in a good situation, and offense is just going to have to come back and score some points now.
Okay, we're in the 2-minute offense now, Steve, so we'll have to cut it a little short. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Steve Walsh, as we talk to Walsh, his completion of 5 yards to Randall Hill on 3rd and 5, deflected at the line. Don Grimm knocked it down, and Miami will have to punt. Let's go back to Doc.
Steve Walsh, what about the change in the system here at Miami, the offensive system?
Well, it's a lot different. You know, Coach Stevens was the offensive coordinator. He went to the Miami Dolphins, and Coach Erickson brought in an offense that they ran at Washington State. It's a lot different. They spread the field out a little bit more, and there's different protections and different routes.
What about your future in Dallas?
Well, I think, you know, right now Troy and I are there, and we're both maturing as young quarterbacks, and you know, it's a difficult situation.
Thank you. Okay, Jim, back to you.
All right, Kalal to punt. And the Waters fair catch this time at the 44-yard line. Steve Walsh able to be here today because the Cowboys played on Thanksgiving Day. And at the conclusion of tonight's CBS Sports College Football broadcast, we will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. Chevrolet donates $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
And Jim, a game that looked like it was going to be an early runaway by Miami has settled into a very good game. And now Notre Dame has 2 timeouts remaining, 1:10 remaining in the second half. They need to get Tony Rice and Rocket Ismail on the corner of the defense.
All right, we're nearing halftime. Late second quarter. And Rodney Culver picks up good yardage into Miami territory and near a first down at the 46. Tackled in the secondary by Hurley Brown.
Well, Billy Hackett, the kicker from Notre Dame, his long is 39 yards, so they're going to need at least another, probably 15, 20 yards to get themselves in range.
is intercepted by Clark. Clark down the sidelines. Inside of the 10, but a flag is down.
Holding on offensive team. Penalty is declined. He's first down.
At the very beginning of the show, we said Bernard Clark, number 57 in the middle of your screen, had to make a lot of plays today. He has made 5 tackles, and here makes the play on the underthrown ball to the tight end Brown. I mean, he has done it all. He has been physical, stopping quarterback sneaks and fullbacks, defending passes, intercepting balls. Bernard Clark has had himself a half.
That's the second interception of a Tony Rice pass here in the first half. The captain of Notre Dame, Ned Bolkar, runs back one for an interception, and now the captain of the defense for Miami answers. Clark sets up the Hurricanes inside of the 10. Final minute of the second quarter. McGuire stops the clock as he gets out of bounds at the 5. Miami with 2 timeouts.
And you would think with 33 seconds remaining, though, they can use their passing attack now. I think it's going to be tough to punch this ball in running the ball, but they've got 3 wideouts. They run a lot of option routes, which means they come down and depending upon how the defense is playing, they might break in or out.
Second and goal from the 5. Erickson. Incomplete. Double coverage on Dawkins. Francisco and Light.
D1 Francisco, the strong safety. I thought that ball early was going to get tipped by Dahl, but it didn't. There was just a nice defensive coverage here by Francisco in particular, but also Todd Light. Francisco is really, right there in the middle of the screen, Francisco is really a corner playing strong safety.
Third and goal. They run it with McGuire. Touchdown. Steve McGuire with his 10th touchdown of the year. And now Huerta on the extra point try. Azer snaps it to Kalau, and the kick is perfect.
Jim, I tell you, that takes some courage on 3rd and 5 to call that. But watch the left tackle here pull and seal the way in here for Steve McGuire. See the big line splits, creating natural holes? It was Searcy, number 73, who really cleared the way for McGuire. But give Bob Bratkowski, the offensive coordinator of Miami, some credit. That takes some guts when you're a passing team, 3rd and 5 in a game like this, to call that kind of play. Yeah, their nickel defense in, it was a nice call.
Mike Sullivan. There he is, the junior from Chicago. Hopes to go back someday to his city and get into politics. And Steve McGuire, Pat, I said it when I saw him at Pitt, he reminds me of another man who donned the jersey 30 at Miami, Alonzo Highsmith.
That's a pretty good comparison if he plays like that.
17-10, Keams cashing in on the turnover in the final minute of the first half.
They will not kick this ball to Ismail.
Bouncing around. Ismail runs into Bellis and is tackled at the 15-yard line. As far as kickoff return coverage, this is the best performance anyone has shown this year against Notre Dame.
Yeah, they have been awfully tough. The longest return they've allowed is up to the 42-yard line. But, Jim, this has been a terrific first half, I think. It's been a lot of these kind of games don't live up to the billing. This one has. We've seen great defense by Miami. Notre Dame has responded. It was really the turnover right before halftime, the interception by Bernard Clark, which is the difference.
What will they do in the final 17 seconds? Well, they run it with Anthony Johnson.
Wow.
And he loses yardage.
Miami played emotional football the entire half, and that is hard to do.
Clock is stopped with 1 second on the clock. We'll be going back to Greg Gumbel in New York. Mike Francesa alongside. He'll take a look at the Heisman race. Notre Dame heading in.
Hey guys, the rest of your team's still out there. I don't think they know that yet.
They'll restart the clock here, and I don't believe we'll see another play.
You guys want the first shot at the Gatorade?
Be interested to get Francesa's thoughts. Mike picked Notre Dame #1 in the preseason. And there it is. It runs out with its 17-10 Miami at the intermission. So now we take you back to our New York studios. Greg Gumbel, our host of the Prudential College Football Report.
All right, thank you, Jim. And, you know, you have been picking Notre Dame #1. How are you feeling right now?
I think that they're lucky to be down 7 points. They caught a break, which we'll touch on in a couple of minutes, and really they didn't play well.
All right, Mike. Coming up, scores and highlights from all of today's college action and a report on injured Ole Miss player Chucky Mullins. The entire community and campus has rallied to his care and comfort. All of that ahead when the Prudential College Football Report continues here on CBS after this message and a word from your local station.
At BASF, we don't make the plane. We make it lighter. We don't make the lotion. We make it smoother. We don't make the dress. We make it brighter. We don't make the carpet. We make it tougher. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF, the spirit of innovation.
By signing up now in the Army's delayed entry program, any skill training I choose is mine when I graduate. Guaranteed.
Be all that you can be. Getting it on life in the Army.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it, so it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. The lift and cut shaving system from Norelco. We made close comfortable.
This is CBS.
It was a big day when the new equipment arrived.
It's big. Biggest one I've ever seen.
Of course, being a custom job, some assembly was required.
It'll be a few weeks, people.
But finally, it was ready. One of the world's fastest check-writing systems. Some insurance companies look for ways to get your money from you faster.
I hear she'll do $12,000 an hour.
At Aetna, we look for ways to get your money to you faster.
I'm looking for some gift ideas.
We have great gifts at Office Max.
I have a reputation.
So does Office Max. We're known for low prices on electronics, furniture, and more.
I'm incognito.
No, you're in Office Max, where there's great gifts. Like Brothers AX25 electric typewriter, built-in 60,000-word spelling dictionary, 16-character display, and handsome leather business cases by Stebco. Over 30 styles of attachés, portfolios, and more. What more could you want?
A better disguise.
Only one American car line can be ranked highest for initial product quality, and that one is Buick. Buick LeSabre, ranked the most trouble-free American car. Buick Riviera, most trouble-free American luxury car. Buick Skylark, one of the most trouble-free American compacts. And now get up to $1,000 factory cash back on the sensational new 1990 Buicks, depending on the option package selected. Test drive the most trouble-free American cars at your better Buick dealer.
Dave Buckle and Eleanor Hayes, weekends on Cleveland's own News Center 8.
CBS Sports presents the Prudential College Football Report, sponsored by the companies of the Prudential, Come to the Prudential and build your future on the Rock.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second go-around of the Prudential College Football Report today. Along with Mike Francesa, I'm Greg Gumbel. We're watching a pretty good ball game from the Orange Bowl. Miami leading Notre Dame by a score of 17-10. This was a 10-10 tie until the final half minute of the game when Stephen McGuire on the draw play goes 5 yards for the touchdown, and Miami has the lead. But the big play in this game, at least we feel, Mike, was the fumble that wasn't called on Notre Dame.
After getting down 10-0, Notre Dame drove. Anthony Johnson, the fullback, was driving for a touchdown, and as we'll see, he really lost the ball before his knee came out. This was not ruled a fumble, Greg. Now watch, the ball comes out before his knee hits. Should have been ruled a fumble. Notre Dame kept possession. Miami kept him out of the end zone. 3 points there, but Notre Dame did catch a break. Like I said, they did not play well and are lucky to be down 7 right now.
And Miami has grabbed the momentum as they go into the locker room leading 17-10. Elsewhere today, Michigan on its way back to the Rose Bowl and another battle with Southern Cal. They beat Ohio State, and lots of happy faces in Ann Arbor today, and one of them was Michael Taylor. Watch him hit fullback Gerard Bunch for a 5-yard touchdown, the 19th time since 1935 that this game has decided the Big Ten championship. And Michigan, people may not realize it, they've had a pretty good season.
They've had a terrific season. Last year they were 3 plays away from being undefeated. This year there were a couple of Rocket Ismail, when Notre Dame beat them, kick returns away from being undefeated. They go back to the Rose Bowl, and tonight Michigan, Alabama, they're all Miami fans, because without Miami, they don't have a shot at the national title.
Yeah, Tennessee is headed for the Cotton Bowl after its victory over Kentucky today. And don't ever schedule the Volunteers in the month of November. They haven't lost in this month since 1984. Watch Kentucky quarterback Freddie Maggard get picked off by the Vols' Sean Walker. Walker goes 18 yards for the last touchdown of the day for Tennessee, and they beat Kentucky by a score of 31-10. Illinois rolls up its biggest scoring total since 1944. Northwestern goes winless for the 4th time in the last 11 years. Houston over Texas Tech with 22 seconds to play in that game. Andre Ware is having a terrific day for the Houston Cougars. The candidate for the Heisman Trophy has thrown 4 touchdown passes, 44 for the season, 19 yards to Craig Alexander there, and Ware has passed for 475 yards today. Earlier today here on CBS, Penn State edged Pitt by a score of 16-13. This one came down to Ray Tarasi from 20 yards out with 13 seconds to play. His 3rd field goal of the afternoon was the game winner for the Nittany Lions as they edge Pitt by a score of 16-13. Michigan State over Wisconsin big today. Blake Ezor scored 3 times. He has 9 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Baylor wins in Austin, Texas for the first time since 1951. The Longhorns didn't help themselves with 8 turnovers. Purdue edges Indiana today, 15-14 for the Old Oaken Bucket, and this is a very damaging loss for the Hoosiers.
For 2 big reasons. Number 1, it knocked them out of the Freedom Bowl because they're 5-6, and number 2, it may have devastated the Heisman chances of Anthony Thompson. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
All right, 30 points for the Minnesota Golden Gophers in the last 10 minutes of the game. They trample Iowa in Iowa City. In the Pac-10, Arizona leading Arizona State in the 4th quarter. Arizona 6-0-1 against the Sun Devils since 1981. Air Force a winner over Utah in a shootout, 42-38. Southern Miss 41-27 at home against East Carolina. Southern Miss upset Florida State in the season opener and had gone 3-6 since then. Ole Miss over Mississippi State in the battle for the Golden Egg. First victory in 3 tries in Jackson, Mississippi for the Rebels this year. And Georgia Tech over Boston College today on Scott Sisson's field goal from 35 yards out with 42 seconds left in the game. We'll take a time out here, and when we come back, Mike and I will round up the likely Heisman, Lombardi, and Outland Award winners as the Prudential College Football Report continues now with a look at more scores from across the nation.
Miami with a 7-point lead and about to receive the second-half kickoff from Notre Dame. The Hurricanes will go from the west end to the east. Hendrick about to boot for the Irish. Alex Johnson and Randall Hill, the return men for Miami. Big kick again through the end zone, and Miami will start it from the 20. Just moments ago, John Dockery talked to Lou Holtz.
Well, they're an outstanding football team, but we just hang in there and not make a couple mistakes. We got down on the 2-yard line, had a missed assignment, but they're very, very good. But it was a play just before the half that we have to shake off. You know, it's a tough environment. We have to shake that off. We made a mistake. We tried to risk 6 yards to get 6 points, and that's not a good bet. But, hey, that's behind us. We just got to come out now and play.
Thanks, Coach.
His team found a way, down 17-7 at halftime to beat USC in the second half. Now trailing 17-10. First play from scrimmage, and it's Conley. Maybe 5 as he's tackled by Grimm and Zorich. First half numbers. Time of possession to Notre Dame. And the rushing yards, well, it's small because you have to take away the sack yardage. McGuire had a big first half for Miami. And the 2 turnovers by Notre Dame, both interceptions, and Erickson was picked off for a touchdown return by Volkar. Again, it's a run. It's McGuire this time, and no gain.
Well, if Notre Dame is going to respond as they have all year and really come back and ultimately win this game, they must stop the run. You're going to concede a lot of passes to Miami because they're really clever about it. But what they need to do is find a way to shut down Miami's run. They've been successful running inside with Stephen McGuire in particular.
McGuire has 12 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. 3rd down and 5. Screen to Conley. Cuts inside and picks up the first down.
Boy. Well, don't you love to see backs that don't waste any time? I mean, they don't dance around, make 5 different cuts against the air. Conley just took that ball, knew that he needed 5 yards, and got right upfield. Love to see that.
He had to get to the 30, and he made it right there. Conley is one of the players who seems like he's been there forever. Had the freshman rushing mark here that's been broken by McGuire this year. 1st and 10, it's Conley. He's wrestled down by Bob Dahl. Miami in the first half. Now let's take a look. Field goal and a punt. And they drove it for a touchdown. The pass to Dawkins covering 55 yards. And then a touchdown right before the half. After a punt, the interception returned by Volkar and another punt. Speaking of Conley, he scored 2 touchdowns last year in the Orange Bowl against Nebraska. Scored a touchdown here in '87 against Notre Dame. Now he goes out in motion on 2nd and 8. Over the head and incomplete. Intended for Dawkins.
You know, you're talking about Leonard Conley. He leads the league in nicknames. And you see all those nicknames he has?
Yes.
Kojak and Smurf, Marvel and Marvis. What else? Conehead. They call him all sorts of things. Actually, some of them even affectionate. He's a nice player.
3rd and 8. Pass is caught by Chudzinski, the tight end. He had to get right at the 40. And I believe he'll have the first. They may measure for it.
Bottom of the screen, number 84. You clear out with the wide receivers at the top, and you bring the tight end on the crossing route. Now, I've been watching Rob Chudzinski for 3 years here at Miami, and he doesn't have a lot of speed or quickness or strength, but somehow or other, he always seems to get open. And he always seems to make the catch when you throw him the ball.
He does not have the first down, Pat. He is a few inches shy. And with the ball at their own 40, Dennis Erickson brings in a second tight end and Steve McGuire.
Well, I think you have to punt the ball here with the 7-point lead as well as your defense is playing.
This is just the kind of spark, if defense holds here, could turn it for Notre Dame. 4th and inches. McGuire in the backfield. McGuire. Boy, he got across the 40, and he made it just barely.
Give Dennis Erickson some credit because he has an awful lot of confidence in his offense. And in particular, again, remember, this is primarily a passing team in Miami. Very few passing teams can run the ball on 4th and 1 type of situations like Miami did there with success.
Erickson with with the gamble. And it's a first down for Miami.
Offensive team, it'll be first down and 25.
Wow. All right, on the back end of it, the penalty will back them up 15, but it is a first down. The personal foul.
Yeah, but it makes it first and 25 rather than the first and 10. And now you've got a real uphill battle.
It's only the third penalty of the game. First and 25, Miami from its 25. Erickson fumbles. Recovered by Miami. It looked like McDonald.
And that's a bad play by McDonald because he can't advance the fumble anyway. He should have just fallen on the ball.
He tried to scoop it up, Pat, and run with it, which you can't do in college.
He's been watching too many pro games on Sunday because if McDonald, number 45, falls on it, it's Notre Dame's ball. The sack from the backside by 81, Eric Jones. And again, it was McDonald trying to pick it up off the bounce. And then it was Garcia, the center, who made a big recovery. So that is one Devon we'll hear about tomorrow, believe me.
From the 3, it's 2nd and 48. So they run it with McGuire. A punishing run to the 7-yard line.
You know, you have a lot of down and distance situations in football, but you don't really have too many plays for 2nd and 41.
Or 2nd and 48. I mean, you don't have that in the playbook, do you?
No, you don't practice that too much. But it's important here just to every yard they gain now on this third down adds a yard to the punt, Jim.
Well, what do you do on 3rd and 43 out of the playbook? You make the call, Pat.
Well, I'd probably throw it maybe a touchdown. I'd call a touchdown if I were the coach. Usually the simplest call.
Randall Hill out there. First down, Miami.
That's what I would call. Kind of surprising, Notre Dame just with 4 defensive backs in on that situation. 3rd and 43.
And he picks up 44.
Look, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 guys here, and these guys are just going deep. Nobody's bumping the guy on the line of scrimmage. He just outruns both Terrell and the corner, Smagala.
First down, Miami. Wow. McGuire in there. And he runs it to the Notre Dame 45-yard line. Troy Ridgely held on by an ankle.
You know, I have seen a lot of football games, but I don't think I've ever seen a team convert when they were in 2nd and 48.
I don't know much about bowling, but that's like trying to convert that split with a 7-10 split.
It's one I never got.
I mean, you just don't ever see that.
And I tell you, that's a real emotional play for Miami, but now the Notre Dame defense has to pick themselves up after giving up that first down.
And a timeout called by Erickson. You can get confused around here. Craig Erickson, the quarterback, Dennis Erickson, the coach, and the new shortstop on the rated baseball team is Greg Erickson. We'll be right back.
If you feel life's more interesting when you make a splash,
it's the right beer now.
If you feel a great beer starts with great water,
it's the right beer now.
Because you're the kind of person who likes to get to the bottom of things, call for the Silver Bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors Light, it's the right beer now.
When you've got your power stroke going, you've got confidence that nothing's going to beat you. Introducing Power Stick, the new antiperspirant that gives you 24-hour odor and wetness protection in just one wide stroke. It takes 2 strokes of the leading stick to match Power Stick's 1-stroke protection, 24-hour protection. In just 1 stroke. New Power Stick from Fabergé.
We got the Toyota Camry because we both need a car with a lot of room.
Mrs. Martino has like about 10,000 suitcases full of junk she packs in their car for trips.
When we travel, Pat and I both have a lot of stuff. But it's never a problem loading the Camry.
Mr. Martino has like about one suitcase this big, but he gets to drive.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
Getting some gorgeous pictures tonight from the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise. And they tell us they keep track of this. This is the 50th time the Blimp has covered a Miami football game, and the Hurricanes have won 41 of them.
Unbelievable play here, and the little things add up to big things. Craig Erickson looked left first before he threw this ball to Randall Hill. And that's why there wasn't another one of the safeties able to come over to make the play. But that should never happen, believe me, when you have 41 yards to go. Nobody bumped him at the line of scrimmage. He ran free up the field, and nobody played deep behind him.
We have 9:28 left in the third quarter. Notre Dame has not touched the football in the second half. It's 17-10 Miami. And 2nd and 6 here. Conley. Good move in the inside, and near a first down, maybe a yard short.
Boy, left side, number 79 Sullivan and Holder 64, they're going to come right at you. And what Conley does is just hide right behind those guys. Sullivan, number 79, a kid out of Chicago, gets a little wing on a guy. Hardy, number 66, made a play. Just leading the way. Yeah, Ron Holder is quite a story.
Former starting center here. They'll need him on this play. 3rd and 1. They run behind him. And I believe they have the first down with Conley.
Well, you talk about Ron Holder, the guy who is playing really just on passion. Was a starting center a year ago, but 2 serious knee injuries. He wears a couple of knee braces, 2 serious knee injuries, and they had to move him to guard. Can't practice during the week, just playing because he loves the game. He is passionate about the game of football.
Again, they'll measure for the first. This is the same series as we see Conley on the 3rd and 1 run. And Sullivan over the top. He was on the ground for a while. That ankle was falling on. And it is a first down for Miami. I was going to point out, this is the same series now with the football where Miami went for the first down on 4th and inches from their own 40. And then they had a fumble all the way back to the 3 and completed the first for the first down on 3rd and 43. So holding on to the football now for in excess of 6 minutes. It's the 14th play of this drive on first down. Erickson fakes to Conley. Rolling, he throws. Chudzinski, I thought he had it for a moment. They'll rule it incomplete.
Stan Smagala put a big pop on him. And Francisco did as well. Duan Francisco. But the ball was thrown a little bit behind him. Again, Erickson was after a very good fake. He got to the corner of the defense, found him there. And then it was 29 right there. Stan Smagala, who made the pop. Good tackler, Stan Smagala. Plays their short side corner.
2nd and 10. Conley in motion. Across the middle to Conley. And a gain of about 7. Bolkar on the coverage and tackle. Set up 3rd and about 3.
You know, Bobby Garcia, the center for Miami, does a lot of the blocking, the line blocking with his hands. He's saying he wants people to slide to their left. He is making the line calls, the blocking calls from right there over the center. And Bobby Garcia has to do a lot. He makes those kinds of calls. He snaps the ball. Then he has to take on Chris Zorich.
3rd and 3. Shannon Crowell is in there. There's a receiver. They run it with Conley. First down. To the outside. And inside of the 20.
And what a nice blocked by Darren Hardy, number 66, the guard. He ran right behind him. Right here, watch, he's just going to hold that hat, and he runs right behind there, the block of Hardy. So he just kind of seals his way out. There's a little trap block. One of the inside linebackers overruns it. And then Conley did a nice job of hugging that block of Hardy. It's a nice looking play.
Tackle made by Terrell, 1st and 10. McGuire, a gain of 6. Andre Jones on the tackle.
You know, Bob Bratkowski said about Darren Handy, he has to play well for us to win today. Bratkowski's the offensive coordinator. And Handy has done that, particularly in this drive.
Demetrius Dubose in there at linebacker for Notre Dame. He was also in on that tackle. Not seen a lot of him this year. 2nd down and 4. McGuire. Tackled by a whole wall of defenders. And again, Miami has held the football now for the first 8.5 minutes of this 3rd quarter.
You know, think about carrying the football. It generally attracts a crowd. This is why, Jim, you would never made a great fullback.
Thank you.
Wow. There's 5 or 6 white jerseys around him. And Dennis Erickson, in his first year at Miami, has really done a nice job. 9-3 a year ago at Washington State. One of the more innovative coaches in America.
Let's see what he calls on 3rd and 4. The pass to Hill and a 1st down.
Now, Randall Hill is the fastest receiver on Miami. Yet they like him over the middle. That time he just caught a hook route. But a lot of times fast receivers won't run over the middle in crossing routes. But Randall Hill is not like that.
It is 1st and goal from the 6. This is the 20th play of this drive. Conley for no gain. Bolcar tripped him.
You know, ordinarily, Jim, time of possession really only matters when you're in jail. But Miami has really controlled the clock here for an awfully long time and really taken some of the wind out of the sails, I think, of this Notre Dame defense.
Remarkably, we have 5 minutes and change left in this quarter, and Notre Dame has not had the football. 2nd and goal from the 6. Middle for 1. Scott Kowalkowski on the tackle, but he was running right at Zurich. Flannery was in on the play as well.
And Notre Dame, this is a very, very important 3rd down for Notre Dame. If they're going to climb back in this game, they must force a field goal attempt. They cannot afford to give up another touchdown the way their offense is playing. Well, we haven't seen them this half, the way they played in the first half.
3rd and goal. Erickson, Dawkins. Dawkins has caught his 2nd touchdown of the night. Carlos Huerta for the extra point. Kick is good, and Notre Dame has its biggest deficit now of the year. They're down 14, 24-10.
Well, Jim, this touchdown pass capped the best drive that I have seen all season in college football. Overcoming a 2nd and 48. They find a way to get the ball into the end zone on a drive that lasted 3 weeks, I'm certain of it.
can't sit still vacation. The Royal Caribbean Vacation. It's all here.
I love what you do for me, Toyota. I love how you set me free, Toyota.
Toyota's new four-wheel drive, four-door 4Runner for 1990. Space, luxury, and V6 power. Where you go is your concern. Getting you back is ours.
Being a part of the U.S. Armed Forces is an experience you can be proud of.
Opportunity is waiting for you in the U.S. Armed Forces.
I mean, what do I need a computer for? I'm not an accountant. Why should I be the company guinea pig?
Why do I need one now? I've done fine without one. Can you imagine me working on a computer?
Macintosh has the power to change your mind about computers. The power to be your best.
So I was wrong.
With love, all things are possible.
The Orange Bowl is still roaring after a 10-minute, 47-second drive to start the third quarter. And a touchdown pass from Erickson to Dawkins. 24-10 Miami over #1 Notre Dame. 6 times in this decade, Miami has challenged a team ranked #1, and all 6 times they have defeated that team ranked #1 and shattered their championship hopes. Here's a kick. It bounces through the hands of West and goes out of bounds. It touched the Notre Dame player, Rod West, and goes out of bounds near the 24-yard line.
Well, we have talked about the way Tony Rice has always seemed to respond in circumstances like this. And it's important that they get a drive going here. Tony Rice can't afford a 3-play and out and punt the football. They need to take the crowd out of this game by trying to get something on the board right now.
Kenny Berry has returned at one corner. Roland Smith is still out, will not return, we hear. He's replaced by Ryan McNeil. The run with Waters, and he gets to the 28-yard line. We return to the field with John Dockery. Doc?
You know, you were mentioning about the cornerbacks. I just got a report from trainer Andy Clary. You saw Roland Smith will not be back. He has a sprained knee. You see Kenny Berry out there. Well, he had a sprained ankle. He tested it along the sidelines. He looked just fine. He's back in the game.
Heavily taped on that right ankle. 2nd down and 5. Rice. Crum on the back, and Clark by the legs, and a 1st down for Notre Dame, a gain of 10 by Rice.
And that's the kind of play. Tony Rice on the defense, on the corner of the defense, if they're going to get back in it, but they're still going to have to mix in a safe pass or two. Derek Brown, the tight end, the big receiver there, maybe throw a screen pass.
Ball is at the 38-yard line of Notre Dame. 1st down. Anthony Johnson for a yard. Cortez Kennedy on the tackle. Well, they're in the playoffs now in Division I AA. How about that one? 59-56. Stephen F. Austin winning today.
Okay, you don't want to be on the kickoff team, I guess.
2nd and 9. Pass to Waters. Good piece of running by Waters. And Greg Mark Makes the hit, but after a first down is gained on the 10-yard play.
Well, you make a very good point about Greg Mark. He is the right defensive end, ran all the way across the field to put the stop on Ricky Waters. There's a guy that has played the position of defensive tackle with toughness, physicalness, yet he can really get upfield and rush the passer. 15.5 sacks on the year as well.
First and 10, Notre Dame. Now, let's see. Talking about Greg Mark. This year on their media day in August.
No flag. The defense violated the neutral zone. The offensive team moved into the neutral zone. Well, there's no flag.
Watch Mark here in his pursuit as he made that tackle on the screen pass to Waters. I was going to point out on their media day, they got rained out, so they had to take it inside for pictures, and Mark ended up putting on a dunking exhibition. So the delight of everyone.
The thing about Greg Mark is, you know, we talked about playing with toughness, but that's the easy part of the position. He is mentally tough as well, does not make a mistake a second time.
And he wanted us to pass along his best wishes to his grandfather, who's been under the weather recently. He's playing this game for you tonight. First and 10. And a tackle for a loss by Kennedy. A loss of 4.
Remember we talked earlier about the sensation of playing the game fast, even though you're a big man? Well, Cortez Kennedy came to Miami as a linebacker, as Greg Mark did, and as well as Pegues did. And they still play fast even when they put on the extra 40 pounds. They still have that feel, I think, in their feet of just being able to move quickly. He has had a remarkable evening, Cortez Kennedy.
Second and 14. Culver is the fullback. Rice with a deep drop and going deep. Incomplete over the head of Tony Smith. Bailey and Farms on the coverage.
Well, they finally did pick on the replacement, Robert Bailey, but he was equal to the task. He did get some help with Charles Farms.
The Orange Bowl has never seen a crowd of this size gather here. The biggest ever, 81,634. This stadium's been here since '37. 5 Super Bowls have been played here, but this is the all-time crowd. Now 3rd and 14. Rice runs out of there and now throws. Almost intercepted. Intended for Ismail, and it was overthrown and almost wound up in the hands of Ryan McNeil.
Well, it has been a day of defense, in particular for Miami. Head Bolfar of Notre Dame returned an interception for a touchdown, but this Miami defense has been everything that was advertised.
Pee-wee Smith is the return man. Hendricks kick. Goes into the end zone, a kick of 55 yards. Final minute of the 3rd quarter.
Introducing the 1990 Toyota Celica. Its totally new shape will please your sense of design. And the way it moves will stimulate your sense of excitement. The all-new Toyota Celica. You'll love what it does for you.
The following fine items were purchased with Visa cards last year, but not paid for. They were won in the Visa Our Treat Sweepstakes. Now all you have to do to enter is use your Visa card, and almost anything you buy just may be our treat. And the more you use your card, the more chances you have to win. So why pay with anything else?
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
With Radio Shack Space Patrol walkie-talkies, your children can be Arctic explorers.
Advance slowly. The summit is sheer ice. And the cold is beginning to affect the dog.
With the Morse code key, you can send critical information, and the flexible antenna is a must on rough terrain.
Prepare for final ascent. We've got to make the summit before nightfall.
Anyone for hot chocolate?
Mission accomplished.
Space Patrol walkie-talkies from $9.95 only at Radio Shack, the technology store.
They've toppled the Bears and stunned the Niners. Now, Green Bay's pack attack tries to overthrow the division-leading Vikings tomorrow.
And the NFL today gets it started. Dick Butkus, in fact, has a story on Minnesota's Keith Millard. Also on the NFL today, a live interview with Mike Ditka, and the latest on Buddy Ryan and the bounty hunt. Then the games, Minnesota, Green Bay. Most of you will see that one. Green Bay can pull even with the Vikings with a win there in the Central. And Chicago and Washington. Talk about two teams needing a victory. 6-5 Bears, 5-6 Redskins. But the Bears are just a game back of Minnesota. Now Miami from its 20, first down. They run left with Connolly. Brian Flannery is there for a 4-yard drop.
What a nice play by Brian Flannery. And we got blocked early on in the play. Look at those helmets. Those guys are hitting some heads tonight. There's a few dings all over the place. A lot of orange on those helmets later on tonight. But he did a nice play. I'll tell you, he ran after the play after getting the block.
25, first and 5, but that's
Penalty against Notre Dame. The 5-yard penalty will give Miami first down and 5.
So, with 50 seconds left in the third quarter, first and 5 after the offsides penalty against Notre Dame. Conley. And he gets to the 30. That's where he had to get for a new set of downs. Bolkar was able to ride him down. Huerta scored first with a field goal of 35 yards. And then over the middle, Dawkins, 55-yard touchdown. Hackett put a field goal on the board for Notre Dame. Then the Irish tied it on Bolkar's interception return for a score. And then just before the half, set up by Bernard Clark's interception, McGuire took it in. And then here in the third quarter, Dawkins on a 5-yard reception. It's 24-10, and the final seconds of the third quarter. Miami leading #1 ranked Notre Dame. Erickson going long for Randall Hill. Todd Light was there with him.
You know, talking about Craig Erickson, he is a guy who's quietly had a nice night. 13 of 22, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. You know, he's got tremendous physical ability, but lots of guys have strong arms. I think what separates Craig Erickson is his mind. I mean, he sees a lot of things at the line of scrimmage and makes an awful lot of audibles.
We saw Steve Walsh earlier. Last year he set a record, 424 yards passing against Notre Dame. That was an all-time high by a Notre Dame opponent. 2nd and 10. The pass to Conley will lose yardage. Zorich over there to defend it. And the third quarter comes to an end. A third quarter dominated by the drive. That's what they'll call it around here, I'm sure. 24-10 Miami. CBS Sports returns after this message and a word from your local station.
If you don't want to slow down on your way to the top, because you know to make a beer as refreshing as a mountain stream, you gotta start with a mountain stream. It's the right beer now. When a night on the town might last all night, call for the taste preferred at Better Night Spots. The silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right beer now.
Sharp.
Sharp, the only 12-to-1 zoom camcorder, that's who. Sharp, so fully automatic, just turn it on and shoot. The Sharp 12-to-1 zoom camcorder, that's who. While most camcorders stop here, only the Sharp 12-to-1 zoom keeps zooming all the way to here. Beautiful, even in low light. Sharp, the only 12-to-1 zoom. Nobody gets you closer to the ones you love than Sharp. From Sharp minds come Sharp products.
This is CBS.
Listen, babe, you're gonna love it.
At News Center 8, we believe the people who cover Northeast Ohio news best aren't the ones sent here by their agents, but the ones raised here by their moms. People with a history here, a future here. People who grew up here or plan to grow old here. People proud to call this home. Cleveland's news, Cleveland's pride, Cleveland's own News Center 8.
Big hits are at your Ohio Ford dealer. It's Truck Month. Now score big savings on America's #1 selling compact pickup, Ford Ranger, or America's best-selling full-size pickup, Ford F-Series. Buy now and get a 1990 F-150 with automatic transmission at no extra charge. Ohio's #1 dealers are driven to win and ready to deal during Truck Month.
Ed's dream is making sure his children's dreams and their children's dreams come true. It's our dream, too. I'm Sam Porter, and I'm a personal banker at the Huntington. It's my job to take people's dreams personally. In Ed's case, that means helping him manage his finances to make the most of his life's labors for his family. Only the Huntington assigns every customer a personal banker. So no matter what your dream, you have a Huntington personal banker to help make sure it comes true.
Tonight at 11, a double murder shocks a community.
CBS Sports coverage of tonight's CFA game is sponsored by Bugle Boy. In jeans and casual fashions, Bugle Boys leading the charge. AT&T, the right choice. And by Nike, who remind you to just do it.
"15 minutes of football remaining, and #1 ranked Notre Dame and its 23-game win streak in danger as Miami leads it 24-10. I'm Jim Nance along with Pat Hayden and John Dockery on the sidelines. We open the fourth quarter with Miami facing 3rd and 15 from its own 25. Right away they're going long for Hill, and Stan Smagala with great coverage. Incomplete, and let's complete the thought now of John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Jim, amazing. Notre Dame's down by 14. They're the #1 team in the country. They have the winning streak on the line, yet an amazing calm along the sidelines. In between those series in this game, Tony Rice, amazingly calm, sat with his receivers, planning strategy. Back to you guys.
Rice will get his chance now as Kalal picks it away to Waters. Oh, he's running the wrong way, trying to get the corner, and Lou Holtz is going to go nuts over this one. He ran it to the left side and a loss of 17, and Pat, we talk so much about special teams. No one does it better than Lou Holtz coaching special teams.
Well, they spend so much time on it. It's the first thing they start with every week. But again, looking at the picture of Lou Holtz, I think he handles his team much differently when they're behind than when they're ahead. If they were ahead, I guarantee you, it would have been all over Ricky Waters after that punt return.
A net on the exchange of 70 yards, a 53-yard punt, and a 17-yard loss on the return by Waters. From the 5, first down. Rice fumbles. It's caught in midair, and now fumbled again, and I believe Notre Dame may have gotten it. 2 fumbles on the play. Clark was the one who leveled Rice.
And he is hurt. Tony Rice took a shot in the ribs. It was unbelievable. Bernard Clark was the one who hit him right there with the helmet. The helmet knocked the ball loose. Greg Mark had it at first but couldn't hold it, even though his hands aren't taped. And then it was a bunch of offensive linemen, and I think it was the center, Mike Held, who made the recovery.
It was Held. Mike Held on the recovery. The ball was at the 7-yard line. 2nd and 8. called by Rice, leaving Notre Dame with 2. 13 minutes, 45 seconds left in the game. Notre Dame down 2 touchdowns.
It's the closest race in years. Who will win the Heisman?
Okay, have it your way. You can't change pollution. You can't change the deficit. You can't change the price of bread. But you gotta start somewhere. I mean, take your clothes, for example. If you just get out of that monkey suit, you might get a positive attitude going. I mean, the world could be your oyster. Oyster, well, it's an acquired taste that usually takes time. I love what you do for me, Toyota. I love how you set me free, Toyota. I love it. I just love it.
Toyota's 1990 4x4. Don't leave the road without it.
I like wheeling and dealing and a penthouse view, dressing for success and knowing who's who. Bright lights, fast lane, and my big-time career. Meetings on the board and cold Coors beer. If you like your beer fresh, pure, and natural, head for the Rockies and the original taste of Coors. Have an ice-cold Coors with a friend of yours. Coors, the Rocky Mountain legend.
Notre Dame has a new left tackle, Winston Sandry. Mike Brennan came off the field. Lou Holtz, unhappy with his play, ripped into him and sent him to the bench. Tough spot, Jim Nance, for a new left tackle here near the goal line.
Well, John Dockery, Winston Sandry has played quite a bit at Notre Dame, and you saw that look at his helmet. You saw all the chips on his helmet. That tells you he's played some.
2nd and 8. Rice shakes the tackle, gets back near the original line of scrimmage.
But Bernard Clark thought he had Tony Rice for a big loss, but Rice just shook him off. And now they're exchanging words. Take a look, number 57, Bernard Clark, who has played marvelously as a middle linebacker, just got a piece of Rice. Tony Rice is awfully strong. And then Russell Maryland, defensive tackle, with tremendous foot speed. And this is a team that you better get the ball off quickly or you're going to have all sorts of problems.
3rd and 8. Pass is caught, and a first down for the Irish. Derek Brown. Rice rifled that one right in there to his tight end.
You play a little bit of quarterback against this defense. Bernard Clark is looking you right in the eye. You have to look him off first, and then you drill the ball to your 6'7" tight end, Derek Brown. And Jim, think about all the things at stake for Tony Rice and this Notre Dame team. I mean, potentially, still potentially, they can lead his team to a win, a Heisman Trophy, a defending national championship, another potential undefeated season. A lot is on the line for Tony Rice.
It'll take a Heisman Trophy type performance to lead him back. Waters on the first down carry, and Clark again on a tackle for no gain. Have the Irish been shut down tonight? Look at their season average. They're 200 yards below it. And Bernard Clark first burst onto the scene in this country for football fans at the Orange Bowl 1988 against Oklahoma. He had to step in for George Myra, and he was the MVP of that game as Miami won the championship that night. Now on 2nd down and 10, the reverse to the Rocket. He has the first down and out of bounds near the 30. Brown, Derek Brown with a lead block. That's 14 yards actually on that play.
For Notre Dame to win this game, they're going to have to continue to try to get the ball into Raghib Ismail's hands. because he is the kind of guy that can make this crowd stand, or any crowd, stand up and cheer. He has that kind of ability to go all the way every time he touches the ball.
First and 10. Flag down, but Clark smothered him.
You know, Sonny Lubick, the defensive coordinator of Miami, said if Bernard Clark gets blocked, we're in trouble. Well, tonight he has not gotten blocked very often.
You see number 1 in there with the orange jersey. That's Jesse Armstead, a freshman out of Dallas, really the highest recruited defensive player in the land last year.
During the run, we have Clifton on the offensive team. Clifton by the offensive team.
That'll back him up. Armstead is in there for Maurice Crum. Crum limped off the field 2 plays ago. And Armstead, the freshman from Dallas, comes in.
It's first and 25, and again, when Notre Dame is not throwing the ball well, this is a very tough situation.
It over to Anthony Johnson. Charles Farms makes contact at the 24-yard line. Able to gain on that play, about 8 yards.
One tough runner in Anthony Johnson against the best defense I've seen this year. Anthony Johnson has run as hard as anybody I've seen. And he makes a lot of yards after the first hit. So that was Charles Farms, the free safety. Got some help from McNeil, 47, the backup corner who's playing a lot.
Second and long. Call it 17 to go. Just standing there all kinds of time. Now the pass. It's caught. Caught by William Pollard. A freshman with the golden hands. He's from Fort Knox, Kentucky. No wonder.
You've been waiting for him to catch a ball, haven't you?
Been waiting all year for that one.
He is 6'5", and oftentimes when you underthrow these balls to a tall receiver, he has the advantage. Bailey is only 5'10", so you like the mismatch in height. You underthrow the ball, and you let Pollard go up and get it.
So the Irish have it first down from the 34-yard line of Miami. And the pitch to Waters. And a first down. A gain of 11 on that play.
And Tony Rice just took a shot from Shane Curry, the defensive end. They got up, shook each other's hands. It's incredible. Shane Curry, he's the backup. He and Pagee share the left tackle or left end position, but he plays like he has something to prove to the coaches. Like, hey, I want to start.
First down Notre Dame from the Miami 23. Inside run with Anthony Johnson. And this offense now picking up momentum and confidence.
You know, a lot of times this is the reason why quarterbacks who run the option aren't great throwers, because they take such a beating. After the pitch, 44, Shane Curry just levels Tony Rice. And when you take that kind of physical pounding play after play, I think it's real difficult to throw the ball with touch.
Well, the Miami defender is down. And with a timeout on the field, 9 minutes, 40 seconds to go. The Irish are driving.
All right. What is that? I don't know. It looks like a bunch of old timber. Take a break, guys. I'll make a phone call.
Hello? You found what? No, don't move it. I'll be right there.
Can't see your plans for the weekend.
Don't worry. I'll call my old professor.
Professor Cornell?
We've got a major mind you.
The two worlds of archaeology and architecture seem to have collided today.
Given me until Monday to find out more.
They can't do that. I'll call Washington.
AT&T. The place is literally crawling with activity, and from what I understand, time is limited.
We're getting there, but we need more. We're trying.
Sean, it's a face. It's a face.
Hey, Mark. May I borrow your car?
It's a V6. Don't let the power go to your head.
The Toyota Camry V6 has 156 horsepower that makes for surprisingly exhilarating driving. But please, try to be mature about it.
Woo! Mark, thanks for letting me borrow this powerful Camry V6. I think I'll go out and buy one today. I love what you do for me, Toyota.
Bernard Clark is standing on the sidelines. He walked off under his own power, and he's replaced by Michael Barrow. Notre Dame has the football at the Miami 18-yard line. A drive that started at the Notre Dame 5.
Well, both teams have had very impressive drives this game.
And there are some similarities. Notre Dame had to overcome a 2nd and 25. Now 2nd and 4. And the run all the way to the 12-yard line. And the tackle by Cortez Kennedy. Rice on the keep.
It's the same play Tony Rice opened the game with. And again, that is just a lot of determination running inside. There was not a lot of daylight. But when there's so much on the line and at stake for a guy like Tony Rice, you make plays like that in this kind of game.
He picked up the first down at the 12. 9 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. Now on the option. Rice is run down by Willis Pegues.
And Bernard Clark is back in the game. Yeah, this is a very, very important drive, and what Notre Dame has is 4 downs each time to get the ball or get a first down. They have a chance of getting one more first down before the touchdown. Down by 14, they have to pick up 2 touchdowns and 1 two-point play.
2nd and 7. Rice for only a yard as Pegues again piled on him.
Okay, Willis Pegues just looks like a football player. You know, he's the kind of guy you want the first guy to walk off the bus when you arrive at the stadium. 6'4", 250 pounds, looks like an athlete, plays like one. Bernard Clark is in there giving some help. Darren Smith, 45. Again, 4 jerseys around the ball carrier.
From the 8-yard line, 3rd and 5. On the option, no gain. Rice was hit.
Bernard Clark really disrupted this entire rhythm. Lou Holtz is going to have to go for it, but watch him. Watch as he charges inside and forces everybody back. Just knocks, run hard, the fullback back, and Rice had to run around that bubble, and that allowed 2 defenders to make the play.
Greg Mark made the tackle, and Notre Dame will go for it with 7 minutes and 15 seconds left. 4th and 5 from the 8-yard line. Is incomplete. It's ruled incomplete. Intended for Ismail. He was hit by Ryan McNeil, who has stepped in tonight.
And I don't think even had he caught it, he would have had the first down. I think he was short of the marker by a yard or 2, and it looked like the tight end, Derek Brown, down the middle, Jim, was open for a score.
have it from their 8. First down, Steve McGuire. And a gain of 2. Now you start talking about national championship implications here tonight. Colorado and Notre Dame will play here January 1st in the Orange Bowl. Miami will travel to the Sugar. Miami must now be looking at that clock and knowing that 6 minutes 35 seconds from now they could if they could hold on, greatly improve their chances, but they'll still need help. 2nd and 8. Volcar hits him at the line.
You know, but Jim, I think what's happening tonight reinforces the need for a national championship playoff. I really honestly believe that's what we need to have in college football. Teams like Miami and Alabama aren't going to have a shot to play Colorado, and they should have that opportunity. And I think all the reasons that have been argued for years not to have a playoff can be rebutted successfully.
Third and 7, inside of 6 minutes left.
Oh, boy.
Conley, first down Miami.
Custer didn't have to look at the films, Jim. And I want to tell you, this offensive line for Miami has done a real nice job of being able to finesse block on pass plays and then play physically on the run game.
30 yards on the run by Conley. And there he is again. Volcar this time drops him for a yard loss. 5:05 left in the contest. The Irish with 2 timeouts remaining.
Well, you know, this is a series, Jim, you hate to see ending. I think next year's the last game in the series. It's been a very competitive one and one that's been fun to watch. On the tackle, and we go to John Dockery.
Jim Nance, they're working on Bernard Clark along the sidelines. What a night he's had. The long interception. Well, he's dehydrated. He's suffering from cramps. He was taking oxygen earlier, but I don't think he cares. With the score 24-10, his team on top with a little over 4 minutes left. Back to you guys.
He is going to be in the whirlpool tomorrow, Doc, I guarantee you.
Well, the Irish have to stop Miami here. 3rd and 3 with 4 minutes left. And Miami calls a timeout. They're left with 1. It's 24-10. Hurricanes are a-blowing.
Today we'll review proper tennis procedure. Let's... Never try to hit too hard. Avoid overexcitement. Maybe we should go through this one more time.
The spirit of Christmas past came alive with a flicker, and we welcome the holidays with shimmering light. Well, now True Value hardware stores capture the motion of miniature lights with marquee sets from Noma. Your choice, just $14.99. And this Noma timer, only $16.99, turns them on automatically at dusk. So when you're away or tucked warm inside, you can enjoy bright traditions from your Christmas lighting source. True Value hardware stores and home centers.
I love what you do for me, Toyota. Set me free, Toyota. I love it, I just love it. I love it, I love it.
I'm Dick Butkus. It's open season on NFL quarterbacks. Is Buddy Ryan putting a bounty on them? Will Mike Ditka find a permanent starter? And can anyone stop quarterback killer Keith Millard?
I feel to be a success in this business, you got to be a modern-day barbarian. It's got to be your life. When you get on the football field, there's nothing else on your mind.
All that and more tomorrow on the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern Time. Now, back to the Orange Bowl.
With Miami leading 24-10, let's quickly single out two outstanding student athletes. This week's Toyota Leadership Award winners. And they go to Mike Sullivan from Miami, a business management major from Chicago, and George Poorman from Notre Dame. George, a business administration major. Toyota donates a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. You're looking at Barry Alvarez, the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. He's 23-0 as defensive coordinator for the Irish, but now his defense must hold here to give his team any kind of shot at all, trailing by 2 touchdowns. 3rd and 3.
The audible by Erickson.
Randall Hill. And a first down for the Hurricanes.
And did Craig Erickson make that look easy? Saw the big cushion that was given to Randall Hill, and they just called the audible an easy throw for a first. Barry Alvarez, guy who's done a remarkable job at Notre Dame, being talked to by several coaches across colleges across America for a head coaching job.
First down, Miami. Throwing again to Dawkins. And on the slant, they get to the 25-yard line, a gain of 16.
Remember we said Craig Erickson just sees things at the line of scrimmage. He gets up there, and again, if no one comes over Dale Dawkins, if no one lines on his head, he just throws him the ball. That's the 3rd time that's happened tonight.
He has stepped in for Wesley Carroll, the leading receiver on this team, out with a separated shoulder. He did not play tonight. Dawkins moved over from his starting split end spot to the H-back, and he's 7 receptions, 123 yards on the night, and 2 scores. On the first down play, McGuire straight ahead to the 15-yard line.
You know, we've talked a lot about these Miami players, but Dennis Erickson, their head coach, answered a lot of questions tonight. People were wondering about him stepping up in class, coming from Washington State to a program like Miami. And I think he's answered a lot of those questions tonight.
His father was a high school football coach for the rival high school in Everett, Washington. He says, I know all about being in a tough rivalry. 2nd and 1. And Connolly will not get the first down. Tackled by Devon McDonald. And the Irish still with the 2 timeouts left. The rushing totals on the night, let's compare them to the season. They did not average 415 yards this season.
It was 300.
That's total yards, I see.
Yep.
And they had 425 yards last week rushing against Penn State.
A pretty good Penn State defense.
3rd and 1.
Wow.
Did not get it.
Eric Simeon, number 85, was in on the tackle, along with Don Grimm.
So McGuire unable to pick up the first.
They should attempt a field goal here. Yeah, they're going to send Huerta out.
You know, the field goal, Pat, would make it 17, which is a 3-score difference.
I'm not sure why they're even debating it, but they are.
Miami calls its last timeout. They want to talk it over with 1:47 left on the clock and in control on the board.
You're in good company. Now you can take on responsibility. You might discover you had the right stuff all along.
The U.S. Armed Forces gives you the chance to grow, to do your best, and to become a leader.
Opportunity is waiting for you, in the U.S. Armed Forces.
Hey, party people! I got some more
party time tips for you from Extra Gold Draft. First, never party with anything less than a full tilt taste of Extra Gold. This is some serious beer. Another tip, the next time your buddy sets you up with a blind date, try not to look too surprised the first time you see her. Betty, right? I'm Tom. She likes me.
Ask for an extra. Go for the full tilt taste.
It's this cologne.
I'm Connie Chung. A young woman murdered. She was last seen with a sheriff's deputy, but he's not a suspect. Is this a police cover-up? Tonight on Saturday Night with Connie Chung.
Living undercover, living on the edge. Someone knows your secret, someone wants you dead. You could use a lifeguard, someone on your side. If looks could only kill, you would never die.
Now, where are you going to spend your Wednesday nights?
Wise guy.
12:30 tomorrow. The NFL today will start off a doubleheader day for us. Join Brent, and Nerve, and Dick, and Will. We'll have a live interview with Mike Ditka. Dick Butkus will look at Minnesota's Keith Millard, and then the action. Many will see Minnesota Green Bay early, and late Chicago against Washington. NFL today starts it off 12:30 Eastern time here on CBS, and Miami, after talking it over, delivers its kicker, Carlos Huerta.
Really no decision at all.
They had delayed it for a while, that decision. Huerta's kick will come from 32 yards. Consider that it's 27-10 and Notre Dame has not scored an offensive touchdown. Last time that happened was here 2 years ago when Miami shut out Notre Dame. Let's go to John Dockery.
You know, Jim, you're looking for reasons why one team is motivated more than another. Well, before this game was interesting. Jimmy Johnson sent a telegram from Dallas exhorting the team on. His entire assistant coaching staff did the same. And Dennis Erickson in the locker room challenged his team, telling them, hey, this is the reason you come to a school like Miami, to be on center stage in a game like this. And certainly they've responded to the challenge.
You know, Doc, when Johnson left for the Cowboys last winter, right around the 1st of March, in his last meeting with his Miami Hurricanes, his last words were, beat Notre Dame. Kick bouncing around, picked up by Ismail. Hit right away at the 18-yard line.
Tough place for the Irish, the Orange Bowl.
And you total it up, and the scores add up to 166-32 in this decade here at the Orange Bowl. Now a new quarterback. It's Rick Meyer, a freshman, and he is not down. Doing a good job of getting away, and finally tackled by Pegues.
Well, Rick Meyer will be the quarterback next year for Notre Dame, a much different type of quarterback than Tony Rice.
Speaking of Rice, Pat, many said he would have to go through this season unbeaten to win the Heisman. What do you think now after tonight?
Oh, absolutely. I think the fact that Notre Dame loses tonight, Tony Rice will not win the Heisman, and I think the kind of day that Andre Ware had today, I think may well have won it for Andre Ware of Houston.
Second down. Meyer is pulled down by Jimmy Jones. And a Goodyear blimp above Just cruising along and looking down at the final minute of action. And the largest crowd ever at the Orange Bowl. The celebration is already underway. Incomplete. It will be 4th down. Hats off to Lou Holtz and this remarkable win streak the Irish have put together. They will end tonight. Along the way, they beat 7 top 10 teams. The longest win streak in Notre Dame history. And this hot and intense rivalry has been handled tonight with dignity. No skirmishes on the field. Down for the Irish. And a handoff. And it's only appropriate that Bernard Clark would be there to finish it off. Done it. The longest win streak in Notre Dame history is over. As we go to John Dockery.
Coach, a monster win for you. Can you describe it?
Can't describe it. Greatest win of my life. And I tell you, this football team's amazing. We lost our 2 starting corners in the first quarter, and they came and played. And it was just a great win. I'm just proud of them.
Awesome defense for you.
Awesome defense. People have counted us out all year, but we're pretty good.
You're certainly in the national championship picture, but you need some help.
Yeah, we need help, but I don't care about that. We won this game. That's all I care about.
What about Bernard Clark?
Huh?
What about Bernard Clark?
Bernard played outstanding. What can you say?
Congratulations, Coach. Back to you, Jim Nance.
Thank you, Doc. Celebration going on. And Pat, what about Miami to win a national championship? What must happen now?
Well, they need to beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, and Notre Dame's going to have to beat Colorado in the Orange, and then USC would have to beat Michigan in the Rose. Those 3 things happen. Miami may well be the national champion. What a game by that man. Bernard Clark, 14 tackles on the day, made the first tackle of the game and the last one.
Well, Miami has won 2 national championships in this decade, and after tonight, they are in the hunt. They remain in the hunt. They'll need help for a 3rd. (27-10). Miami was the final. They shut out the Irish in the second half. We go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Jim, thank you very much, and welcome back to our New York studios, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Mike Francesa. I want to remind you that Saturday Night with Connie Chung is coming up next, except for those of you on the West Coast. We'll see that program at its regularly scheduled time. We'll get you caught up on all today's college action in a moment. First, a look ahead to tomorrow's action when the NFL takes over here on CBS with doubleheader action. Beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, most of you will see an important NFC Central matchup, Minnesota against Green Bay. And others will see Atlanta take on the New York Jets. In the late game, most of you will see Chicago and Washington. Others will watch Tampa Bay at Phoenix. And it all begins at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. Brent will be talking live with Bears coach Mike Ditka. Dick Butkus profiles Viking quarterback killer Keith Millard. And the latest on the Thanksgiving Day bounty controversy between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. But this evening here on CBS, it was Miami 27, Notre Dame 10. Perhaps no one more surprised that Miami has stretched that 32 game or that winning streak at the Orange Bowl to 32 in a row now, because you've been picking Notre Dame right along now, and you have to really consider the national championship situation now.
I think you have to give Miami a tremendous amount of credit defensively. I did not think they could stop the Notre Dame running game, and Notre Dame will remember that 3rd and 43 play deep in Miami, had the ball deep in its own territory. That play will last a long time. That was a great play by Miami. I think when you look at it now, it's Colorado, If they win, they're going to be the champion. They're going to get Notre Dame. Michigan is right there. Alabama, these teams are there, and Miami's right in the picture. So are a couple other teams. It's going to be a wild New Year's Day.
Is there any better indicator of what a game of emotion football is, even with Miami having lost its wide receiver, Wesley Carroll, prior to this game?
And they lost deep backs early in the game. The defensive effort was brilliant. Bernard Clark, and they made the big plays. Give Coach Erickson credit. Give Craig Erickson credit. They did a tremendous job tonight.
All right, let's tell you about a couple of other events that happened today at Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Michigan Wolverines, who also have just one defeat so far this season. They moved their record to 10-1 and a perfect 8-0 in the Big Ten. With a victory over Ohio State, they will head to Pasadena and to a rematch in the Rose Bowl with Southern Cal. They beat Ohio State today, despite the absence of running back Tony Bowles, who was lost with arthroscopic knee surgery. And Tennessee headed for the Cotton Bowl, a winner over Kentucky this afternoon in Lexington. Kentucky got Chuck Webb, 145 yards rushing, and Tennessee moves its record to 9-1 on the year and 5-1 in the SEC. And we'll take a time out here and continue with more here on the College Football Report in just a moment.